Friday night. Hope you're ready. Oh, what a show we got. As usual, guys, as usual, you see an outstanding panel that's here for you. Very excited about tonight, to be honest with you. Guys, please, again, I always like, the audience is they are my judge. Let me know how the audio is. Everybody, please make sure that everyone's coming through crystal clear. I don't have anything muted. I'm looking around, making sure topics are in order. I see a lot of great people here, just as we kind of let the panel also shuffle in, as well as the audience. See the great Kratos99, JC 2013. Shout out to Mariano, too. I appreciate that. He says, Mooch, love the shows. Love that you're here, Mariano. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's going to be a great show tonight, guys. I want to say thanks to everybody. You guys have been so gracious. The channel's been growing. The YouTube numbers are coming in, and I can't say thank you enough. And honestly, right down there, above that like button that you probably already hit, and right over near the subscribe button that hopefully you have already hit, there's a great description right there. That description is tonight's show. Right above that is the join button, and that's the amazing people. And thanks to the great Kratos99 and also DC Gaming, who have been giving subs away, this is something new. I don't know how much of you guys know this or not, but that was something that was very big on Twitch. And YouTube has now brought that over and incorporated it into their system. And it really is a wonderful way to give to the community by the community. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. I'm going to call everyone out one by one right now as we kind of let everybody shuffle in. The great Sir X-Man, I want to say thanks to each one of them. JudaZuk, WoolleyGamer, MumbleRanting Gaming, Tyson Web 509, Big Chuck 777, TrueWiddy, Alphonso Carter, BRAP, Jamie, Damion, the great Jimmy Harrison, who's here. And by the way, I see all you guys saying Mooch. I appreciate each one of you. Jack Reeves, Gadget, you're all getting called out as well. The great Andy Hart, Isaac Gentry, Red Hood 420, who you're going to hear from very shortly, Hamsolo05, Rob Jones, DadOfWar, Night Ripper 7, Totodope, Kratos99, ThumbsThumbs, JC 2013. Get this work. Probably the best name ever in YouTube. Get this work. Shout out to the great Zuby Tech. It's late over there. It's late over there in Europe, but he's here. Zuby, it means a lot to have you in the chat. Thank you so much. Ice Queen Gaming, shout out to Dawn, Archwar Angel, RP Gaming, our major Mooch Maniacs, Miles, PS Rewind, GTI Bro, Freddy214, Passive Profit, Ghostface, True Virgil, Zero Steel, pardon me, Stephen J, Truth Serum, Dark Prince, Zuby Tech, Raji, Julian Johnson is back home. He is back home with us. Gavin House, Captain Crunch, T-Rock 40, Derek A, Low Key Poppy, Cridge 91, Portal Forever, Sammy Prescott Jr., great name. Brian East, Audible Fart 507, Gadget, Mr. Me, I Am Rich, The Swag, Mr. Din, Tarantino, Vibes Worldwide, another great name. PlayStation Trophies, Jack Reeves, Versus, Manquisitor FD, Sergeant 12, Seattle Chef, Muck 45, Michael Kimona Jr., Nola Origins, Newtonian, your boy Roy, I saw him out there. Shout out to Roy. Making dinner, he's having wine. I wish I was over at his house. The Scolari Brothers, Smokes 901, DC Gaming, Miko, Gaming with Persona, and Jay Barry, who are back tomorrow morning. Thank God, 11 a.m. Eastern Time for What's Up PlayStation. Make sure you go over and check them out. Supreme Samurai, Tactical Gamer, Danelle Brown, That Guy Smitty, 4-Star General, Brian B, a.k.a. Delirium Blades, and our VIP Mooch Maniacs, Domino Zero, Marty the Ambassador, Bison, Shadow Assassin, Strictly! Shout out to Strictly Gaming, the Wise Old Gamer, and our honorable mentions, Brosy Brosum, Chris713, Percolator, Hustle and Motivate, Slaying Chilean. You're out there without food, water, or toilet, come home. And our Forever Mooch Maniacs, Longshot 316, and the great Optimus Code. Guys, Tarantino's asking who's yelling. This guy. What's up, Archwar Angels here? Mary Wilcox. Great to see the whole crew here. Guys, please tweet it out. Let everybody know that we are live here in New York, a little after 7 o'clock, the Lord's time, Eastern time, as I have a couple of great Pacific time guys on the panel as well tonight. But let me get into this outstanding panel. Means the world for me to have him here. He's on vacation. What does he do when he's not selling games, running the games industry from every big brick and mortar? He comes here and talks games. It is finally time to welcome back the great Gaming Forte. Forte, welcome back to the show, buddy. You have been so missed, but it's wonderful to have you back, bud.
No, man, I appreciate it, man. I definitely like when I ain't got nothing to do and I'm not busy, I'm definitely coming to CrossFire because
I appreciate it.
The conversation is always great over here. And shout out to the rest of the panel. And looking forward to the topics. Looks like it's going to be a really, really good show.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal, buddy. It's going to be phenomenal. I can't wait. You know, since we're going ahead and introduce Forte, let's go ahead and we'll go that. We have some BRAP. BRAP may be joining us later tonight. We'll see. BRAP was out. We'll see if he's going to be joining us later tonight. He said he's a maybe, but I got to go ahead and thank the man himself. He did a show with me on Monday. A few guys did a show with me on Monday, and they're here today, just a few days later. The voice of reason is finally back. You guys might also know him from Basement Raid Arcade Podcast. Eric Jackson's back. Eric, great to have you here tonight. And, you know, we're going to be talking about some subjects. And again, I hope that you keep the panel and myself grounded. E, how you doing tonight?
So what's going on, Mooch? Thank you for having me. CrossFire family, thanks for having me. Always good to be here. And look at Mooch, look at that. 2 for 2 in 1 week, man. We gotta thank our stars on that one, man.
I love it, and I'm happy as hell. It's great to have you here, Eric, honestly. And it's going to be, tonight's just one of those nights where, you know, the news is interesting. So the news is interesting. It's not some people might go, well, it's not the craziest news we've ever had in the game. But there's a lot of this right now where there's division in the community on opinions on certain things that are going on. And Eric, I can't wait to hear what you got to say as we kind of get through it. Shout out to the great Domino Zero. The super chat's working. Let's get it. Thank God. It's a miracle, Domino. Thank you so much. The great Kratos99 says, anybody on the panel want an Xbox Series S toaster? You can make waffles at 900p, or you can make them at 720 FPS. The great Kratos, he strikes early, and he strikes hot. Shout out to Kratos. Appreciate that, Kratos. Outstanding. Let me go with the other gentleman that joined me on Monday night. The Last of Us reactions. The great Dark Optimus. You guys might know him as Dark Goldblum. Goldblum, welcome back to the show, buddy. How you doing?
What's up, man? Happy to be here, man. Love doing this podcast with you, Mooch.
Thank you.
You have a fire panel every single fucking week, man.
We try.
And you know, the Last of Us reactions that you do every Monday, it's phenomenal, man.
Thank you, Dark. Appreciate that. So, it's a lot of fun
I'm
to do.
Happy to be here.
And, you know, honestly, great segue again, Dark. Thank you. You know, you say outstanding to the different panel each week. Every week we try to have a different panel, bring new folks on. And this week is no different. You guys might know him. He's a Mooch Maniac family member, first and foremost. That you guys do know. Outstanding streamer himself. And, a lot of people don't get the credit they deserve. And we're going to talk about Dark Optimus, who kind of is putting his big toe in the pool in the streaming world, which I'm very excited about. But the great Red Hood 420 is
more
here.
Like my little toe.
Well, that's all right. You want to start with the pinky toe? That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, just dipping it in. You know?
I was going with the captain of the toes, but you went with the pinky toe. That's fine. I have no problem with that, Dark. But the great Red Hood 420 is with us tonight. Red, how you doing tonight, buddy? Outstanding to have you here as always. You're just well versed in gaming overall. You game, you podcast, you're an active part in the community. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty well, and honestly, I can't wait to talk about news this week, particularly for Tuesday. That for me was like my Christmas essentially for gaming news with Final Fantasy 16. Mooch knows how much I love Yoshi P and his team with Creative Business Unit 3 and Final Fantasy 16, and that was just like, oof, I was just so happy. But great guest today, and I can't wait, man. It's gonna be a fire show.
I appreciate that, Red. And you already saw the list of topics I sent out to you guys. Final Fantasy 16 is definitely on the agenda this evening, so go ahead and get yourself ready for that. I got a couple of different questions on that point. The great Jimmy Harris says, much love to you, brothers. Let's get it. Jimmy, thank you so much. Always listens. He even has the family in the background listening to the show. Hello to the Harrison family as well. Jimmy, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And last but certainly not least here, the great Porter Rock 77, which P-Rock being over on the West Coast, he's busy. He travels a lot. He does his own show, and he gets gaming in. P-Rock, it's great to have you back on Crossfire as always. But I got to tell you, what the great thing about having P-Rock on the show is it means that I get to actually sit back after a few topics, and I get to listen because the man preaches. P-Rock, welcome back to Crossfire. How you doing this evening?
Man, outstanding. I'm out here trying to pre-order the Xbox Series S toaster.
Oh,
it's absolutely, finally something to do with this thing. Let's make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna start off my Saturday mornings with some nice, full RDNA 2.0 toast and coffee. It's gonna. I'm just, hey, how's everybody doing, man? Hey, thank you for the invite. I know the last couple of weeks been hectic, But you know, anytime I can do this show, you know, I'm down with it, man.
I appreciate that,
good to be here.
P-Rock. Shout out to you, man. And, you know, listen, sometimes Microsoft just gives us material. You know, I mean, if it's just unbelievable.
They really do, man.
Listen. It's not our fault. It's almost as if they do it on purpose.
I'm almost there with you now.
You know,
yeah.
I feel like Al Pacino in Godfather 3. He's like, I tried to get out, but they pull me back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to retire here, but all this material is just. It's like, my God, this is a sirloin steak.
I had to actually, P-Rock, I had to actually tweet out after I saw the great Worry Ward Gaming is probably going to be joining us later on, second hour, and he tweeted it out, and I said to him and J-Dub, I said, is this real? I thought it was not. I thought it was a joke, and they said, no, it's real. So, I mean, it's some of the stuff, some of the content just writes itself. But P-Rock, you know what?
That is a real. I thought you guys were making a joke, man. I just looked it up.
No, it's a real thing.
No.
Yeah.
Forte. Listen.
All right, we'll get into it.
Forte. The best jokes are the ones that have some level of truth to it.
Yes.
Those are the best jokes. Is when there's why you think Dave Chappelle is so goddamn famous?
It's true.
Because there's a factor of truth that you're thinking this can't be real, and then you realize, holy shit, he's literally telling you the truth, but it's just so goddamn funny. That's what makes this toaster thing so funny. That is true.
It's true. And you're like, come on. I mean, you know, it's funny too, because I have so many different things that I kind of want to say tonight to P-Rock, and it gets in. It's not really, I won't be bringing up necessarily the toaster, but there's so many things that are going on that we're not paying attention right now to. Here we are, we're going into the middle of this year. And, you know, I know we're supposedly going to be getting Redfall in May, but hopefully we hear something soon on Starfield. That was supposed to be something that was going to be first half. And I'm hearing through the grapevine, again, all rumor, guys. I don't ever preach or say that it's something that's concrete. But I'm hearing, regardless, whether the game is ready or not, I think this game's coming out in June. I've heard June is from many folks now. So we'll see if that's actually a thing. But we got to get the focus off of toasters, off of little coats for our controllers. And we got, you know, and we got to get back to games.
I knew the fridge was just a start, and I mentioned this when the first. Listen, I said it to people. I said when the fridge first came out, I'm like, this is just the beginning. And people looked at me, oh, Porter, you're just a hater. You always hate Xbox. They're just making fun of a meme. And I'm thinking, think about what you're saying. But I'm like, think about what you're saying. A whole bunch of old men in a boardroom. You think they have a sense of humor about memes?
No.
Like, no. Yeah. They're testing the waters on how far they can push all these little weird things, but they slap Xbox on it, and it's a great idea. They went from a simple fridge, and they went from a simple fridge to now apparently controllers get cold, so let's make a hoodie sweater. Like, what?
I don't know.
I think you said in one of your
it goes back further than that, man. The footy pajamas.
No,
I
man.
think
The
pajamas. E-Rock.
Now we gotta talk. Hey, listen, I'm just waiting for the coffee maker. You know, and that's it. I'm all in. I'm gonna have more Xbox.
You got the whole kitchen set.
Then in the gaming room.
I think in one of your videos you even said that they were going to make a toaster at one point, didn't you?
I did.
I think you said something about that.
I gotta find that video. Oh my God, I'm Nostradamus. I did say at this point they're gonna make a toaster out of this thing, and holy cow! Somebody must have listened. Somebody must have been like, "That's not a bad idea, actually."
That's great. That's great. I guarantee you right now that Porter Rock will go after the show. He will find that video and post it again. That's going to be fantastic. Shout out to the great Skywalker. You know, he makes a good point. Skywalker's in the chat. He says you guys aren't mentioning the Mandalorian Xbox Series X, which I'll give credit where credit's due. That does look amazing. I had a great conversation. Shout out to Crap Gamer. I had a conversation with Crap earlier this week. We were talking about custom consoles. And, you know, I got to tell you, I don't know why more aren't doing it. I mean, we saw the LeBron James console that's going to be coming for PlayStation. We saw the one that the Mandalorian one. And, you know, you can turn around and say, well, Mooch, they don't make money on that. Well, I got news for you. The whole idea behind the limited edition of any of these things, people will buy them. They're only making so many out in the wild. They're going to go. They're not going to get stuck on store shelves or put it for sale in the Sony store, put it for sale in the Microsoft store. So you have to order it direct. They're not going to run out of them. I mean, they're not going to be sitting on them. I just think that custom consoles should probably come back to a certain degree. Do I think they should flood the market like they did in the 360 era? Pardon me, but pump the brakes. Don't need to go that crazy with them. But to have a few of them out for big titles, why not? So shout out to Skywalker. I do agree with you on that. But P-Rock, I'm going to go ahead and put you on the hot seat here as we let some more of the panel members show up. And also a lot of podcasts going on Fridays these days, letting some of the audience kind of shuffle in slowly but surely. I just want to kind of have fun. We did a long segment last week. I was saying this to some of the panel members before. P-Rock, you came a few moments late. We did a really long hour and a half last week on PSVR2, okay? I'm not going there again. I'm not going anywhere near that again. I just want to talk for about 10, 15 minutes on PSVR2, and I don't even care. I'm actually hoping, P-Rock, do you have a PSVR2 unit?
No, so
That's
I
good.
wasn't aware that
That's
the
okay.
only way to get it was through the Sony Direct.
That's
so I'm
okay.
waiting for it to get to the stores.
That's
I don't
fine.
really like buying consoles.
I wanted to ask you a question based off of the fact that you don't have one. Because honestly, we had everybody on the show last week that did have one. So this is my question for you. And then I'm going to open it up because actually, believe it or not, you're in good company tonight. Because Dark and Eric and Forte had also let me know that they do not have a PSVR 2 as of today. But here's my question, P-Rock. What do you think now? You've seen people posting their videos. You've seen plenty of YouTube videos. I'm talking about there's even short clips on Twitter. Do you think that the PSVR 2, are you impressed with what you're seeing, not only from the technological standpoint, but the games that have been released? Do you think that there's enough out there for someone like yourself that doesn't have one? I know you just said you're going to get one, but my follow-up question was going to be, do you see yourself buying one? Do you think this is going to carry through for the rest of the generation with this hype?
Okay, so to answer your first question, absolutely. In fact, seeing other people and actually seeing footage of the games that they're playing, even got me more hyped. Because again, I had the PSVR 1, and this is like, I think even a beyond a generational leap of the first one. So seeing the people playing it, I'm like, I might bite the bullet and just go to Sony Direct. I never bought a console or TV or anything that big of a purchase online. Because I'm worried about it. Like if it ships and they arrive broken, it pisses me off. I'd rather just do it in a store. That way, if anything's wrong, and that's the reason why I didn't get it. It was only because of that.
Right.
But as far as the VR, I absolutely enjoyed my PSVR 1, and it's nowhere. And I did it on the regular PS4. I didn't even have a Pro. So when it comes to technological leap, I'm way behind everybody. Like I think you played on the Pro, right? You have a Pro.
I did play on the Pro.
I didn't even have that. So you could just imagine what I was looking at. While playing the PSVR 1, I was running.
This is a major.
My base
this is a big step
model.
up. This is a big step up even for the Quest 2. Porter Rock.
Yeah. Yes. So the controls I'm hearing is phenomenal. So it's going to be an exciting time. So I just the day it drops in stores, I'm getting it. I might bite the bullet because if it takes too long, then I might just bite the bullet and just order it from Sony Direct. But from what I've seen, the games that I've seen, this is the first time I'm actually going to give props to Gran Turismo, because even looking at that game, I'm impressed. And I don't even like racing games.
Yeah,
I hardly give that game any props. I don't really like racing games.
Me
but
neither.
Looking at it, I'm like, holy cow, that looks really good. Like, that looks like a killer app.
P-Rock, it's amazing, dude. It's absolutely amazing. And it's funny because I saw a lot of people, of course, there's the back and forth, the banter. Forza's coming out sometime this year, too. And this and that, and I'll tell you, if they're going to do a flat screen to a flat screen comparison, that's going to be yet to be determined. But when you put that headset on, you play GT7. I'm telling you right now, guys. And by the way, feel free, everybody on the panel, to chime in whenever you want. Red Hood, I haven't asked you yet. I don't know if you have a PSVR 2 or not. But I'm telling you right now, guys, take it from me. I have to piggyback off what Porter Rock said. I do not generally. You guys know this. You guys have been following me for a long time. I don't play racing games on a day-to-day basis. That's just not what I do. This is an amount of immersion into the game that it just takes you out of. You don't even think you're in your house. I mean, you think you're in the car. It's unbelievable. It really is a sight to see. I went the extra step and got the wheel. I don't think you need the wheel. Tried it also with the controller. You don't need to do the wheel if you don't want to. But the wheel does add a level. That's, again, I think it's an added cost you don't have to do. But it depends on how enthusiastic you are. Red, do you have a PSVR 2? If not, will you be buying one?
I don't have one currently, but I probably have plans to potentially buy one just because, like, there's multiple things to it. It's like, I think GT7 probably is like the most immersive game to me because of like all the accessories you can buy to it. And like you're feeling like having the actual seat of a car and like seeing like all these crazy setups with the VR also in place. And I thought that was like really dope to kind of see that how immersive VR can get, especially with GT7. Like I'd probably get one maybe later this year or next year, but I'm hoping, which I think would be smart for PlayStation, to make it compatible with PC, which I think would rival a lot of the VR headspace on PC as well.
Mhm.
From
Well,
what I'm seeing in terms of features, an OLED screen and everything like that.
Red, I've had a lot of
think
people.
makes sense.
I've had a lot of
Mhm.
people on the show continue to say to me on Twitter and here. A shout out, by the way, I got to give a shout out to the great Ham Solo here. He says PlayStation looking like a drug dealer that has to show their taxes. He goes, Mooch, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Hey, I'm great joke, buddy. I know we're gonna get into all that good stuff. Alphonso Carter says I'm playing GT7 in VR with the whole racing rig. That's awesome, dude. Outstanding, Alphonso Carter. But you know, I got to tell you something, Red. Here's my question. There's so many headsets already dedicated to PC. Why, and I know you play a lot on PC, why would you say that this is important? This is clearly a device. We can see that Sony is, I understand Sony's putting games on PC a year later and things like that. I see that. We all see that, right? A year, 2 years later, that's fine. But this is clearly another step for them to sell the console. There's a specific reason they don't want to put it on PC. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I don't know. There's so many different things. You can go buy a Quest 2. The Quest 2 just dropped in price by $70 again. So it's still higher than it used to be, but nonetheless, you know what I'm trying to say? So my point being is that there's other devices you can get and then hook up to your PC for cheap. So you might go, well, Mooch, nobody wants to pay $1,000 for the fancy headsets for PC. You can still get an inexpensive one, hook it up. Why is this need I'm hearing a lot from the PC community on the PSVR2 needing to be or should be PC compatible? What do you think? What's the reasoning behind it?
I think it's just the features that's within the PSVR2 that a lot of people are kind of like wanting it to be compatible. It's like, I truly believe, like, if you're putting your games on PC and then like also you can put, you know, PSVR2 games on PC, it makes sense to even have more units out on the wild, right? And like, I think it's just beneficial overall, because I don't think it's going to take away from like PlayStation 5. Like, we've always had that argument about games going to PC, and would it take like sales, like in the long run? Probably not. Like, I don't really see the need for like, oh, I shouldn't go to PC. I think it's beneficial, like, overall.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying there.
And
really
also the
take
games
away,
too.
right?
Like, think about it, like you'll have more support of those games also on PC, like, for people to buy. Now, whether or not like Sony wants to market those games is an entirely different story, you know?
No, that's a good point. So I guess I'll turn it over to Forte, Eric, or Dark. Guys, any of you guys chime in on this, honestly. It's not a roundtable discussion. It's more just jump in when ready. Is there any of you that feel like you may get it, but you'll get it down the road? This isn't something you need right now. Is it the games? Is it the library? Is it the price? Or is it just you don't care for VR?
No, I already have the money for it. I'm just waiting for it to hit retail because my daughter wants it for Resident Evil, so I have to buy it for her.
When's it hitting retail, Forte?
Who knows? But the Edge controller just hit retail. What, last week?
Last week, yes.
So what is that, like a month and a half, almost 2 months after the fact that it came? Well, it's like a month after it came out, so it's a good chance it's probably the same thing. Maybe a month, 2 months after PlayStation gets their, you know, they're feeling letting, you know, them get exclusivity to it, as they should. But I mean, I refuse to buy, like Porter Ross said, any type of hardware from anybody that's not at retail, so I can get some type of warranty on it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm waiting on. But I'm definitely getting it as soon as it's available, because she wants to play Resident Evil on it. And there's a couple of other things that I want to play. Like, I'm huge into like flight sims and stuff like that. So maybe some stuff like Ace Combat, because I know that's going to be compatible with it and stuff like that.
Yes, it will. Yes.
But outside of that, it's mostly for her, because she really she played, like, I got a free version of PSVR1 and I played it a little bit, and then she fell in love with it, like literally played everything in VR. So as soon as she heard about it, she was like, yeah, Dad, I'm gonna get this. I said, yeah, I guess I got to pay $550.
Yeah.
I said, but that means you got to go in the basement to play it, though, because she likes to play the games in her bedroom, and I'm like, no, the PlayStation's not going in your bedroom. It's staying downstairs.
Things gonna definitely get knocked around.
Right, exactly. No, so yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it as soon as it's available. I'm just waiting, but I did get a chance to play some games because we had a demo event at a Best Buy by my house not too long ago.
Okay.
And I got a chance to play the Gran Turismo, and oh, Lord have mercy. I was like, Lord have mercy. That's a whole nother experience right there when you put that thing on your head and you.
It
especially
is.
when it's when it transitions from the start to the VR portion. It's like it's like crazy, but I'm definitely gonna get it when it's available at retail.
Shout out to RP Gaming, Mooch Maniac family member says, I'm very excited for Switchback VR. So all you guys need to know that is a horror. It's on rails, but it's a horror type of game. Really, that's the epitome of jump scares. I've reached out to the developers. I'm hoping I'm on the list to get a review copy. I'd like to be able to review it and stream it and have fun with it. But I think horror is where the PSVR2 or just VR in general shines. Eric, are you involved with any of this PSVR2 talk? Is it on your radar?
Oh yeah, it's definitely on my radar. I was actually I'm kind of in the line with like Forte. Like I wanted to hit like a Best Buy so I can also get like the warranty, I think, squared away. But more than that, I wasn't in any hurry because I just, like right now it's just a time thing for me more than anything. Like
Right.
I'm barely keeping up with all the releases of 2023 that are hitting like so fast and furious. So I feel like I have time, and by the time I do, it's not going anywhere. It's just going to get better and better and better. So by the time I'm ready for it, it should be pretty robust. But more than that, I just wanted like the real world like use cases from like people that I trust. A couple from certain outlets, real world like use from people like you, Mooch, and others. Getting that real world feedback, and all in all, it just seems like it's completely legit.
Yeah.
And this is the reason why I held off on the PSVR 1, waiting to see what they were going to do with 2. And like I said, for all accounts, it seems like it's solid. So yeah, I'll be getting it. Don't know exactly when, but it'll be this year.
Yeah, it's a solid unit. I don't blame anybody for going ahead and waiting for it to hit their local brick and mortar. That's actually a smart move. I thought that this was going to be one of those situations where it was going to be maybe even a very long extended period of time. I did order that. Now the DualSense, Edge, I will be buying at my local GameStop and getting that amazing warranty that they have on all controllers and accessories. Shout out to Snoop Will Pack for becoming a VIP Mooch Maniac family member. Means the world to me, buddy. Thank you so much. When I see that, it is just overwhelming, and I'm humbled for that. Thank you so much. You shout out to Capone. Capone asked a question that a lot of people haven't asked me over the past couple of weeks. Mooch, how long can you wear the headset and feel comfortable? This headset, and I don't do nearly the justice that a lot of the people that have reviewed it in detail will tell you. But the way that they've done it, if they've centered the weight onto the top of the forehead and the back of the head, the actual headset, the part that you see that looks so like ridiculously massive and obtrusive, is actually quite light. I don't even feel that weighing down your neck or your head or any of that. So I played, just to give you an example, I played Call of the Mountain for at least an hour. I generally do an hour. This is me. And it's not because I didn't want to play anymore or I was tired or it was bothering me. You guys can see Switchback VR is actually, I have some video of it right now playing on screen. I played about an hour, and when I took it, I wasn't sweating. I wasn't a mess. I wasn't exhausted. I wasn't tired. So, Capone, to answer your question, I think you can almost 2x or 3x the time that you used to do with prior engagement with VR. It just doesn't seem to be that exhausting. So great question there. Dark, I want to ask you before we go into we've got some real great topics tonight. I just wanted to touch on VR now that we're 2 weeks in. Dark, are you going to also be waiting for brick and mortar, or will you be waiting longer?
I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, that we were talking about it off air, and I was like, I'm getting interested in it, but I'm not
That's right.
completely sold on it yet.
Yeah.
Because like I just can't see myself spending $550 on an accessory to the PlayStation. Like I don't know. I can't get my head around it. Like I haven't even bought the DualSense Edge yet. Like it's not because it wasn't at retail or anything. It's just I'm like, do I really want to spend $200 on a freaking controller?
Where do you pump the brakes? Where do you pump the brakes, Dark? That's a good question.
Yeah, I'm pumping the brakes. I might actually get the DualSense Edge though, because I'm like, that is like something I actually want.
Same here.
PSVR 2, I'm like, Maybe,
Well,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe when it goes on sale or something, maybe I'll pick it up.
I
like
didn't
at
run out the door. I didn't run out the door either, Dark, to go get the
Yeah.
DualSense Edge, only because I had the PSVR2 that same day. I believe the day it hit Forte's shelves was the day that the PSVR2 came out. Pardon me, or roughly right around that. And again, let's just use Dark's quote there: 550 plus another 200 plus this plus. By the way, you're going to be buying some games. You may have some, but you're going to be buying some games. Those are all from $30 to $60 a piece. Shout out to the great Jimmy Harrison. He says GT7 in VR, one statement, stayed up till 3 a.m. Shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy, I guess Jimmy agrees with me. You really don't feel that cumbersome and having that helmet on. It just doesn't feel. I even think the Quest 2 has a much heavier feel to it, where it pulls your, rightfully so, the entire.
A really light. It's a really light device then, huh?
Well, yeah, because the PS5's doing the heavy lifting, where with the Quest 2, it's all, the dedicated computer is right there on your face. So it is what it is. But yeah, no, outstanding questions. Go ahead, Dark. I didn't mean to take the mic from you.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm thinking, like, this would probably be better for most gamers anyways, is because of the fact that it has, yes, it has a wire, but it's light, so it'll be easier to gravitate towards than something like the Quest, where it's like the entire computer's in it, right? Like everything is in that Quest. So it's like its own little system inside of it. So it's definitely, I think, but I think even people who have a Quest or have a different VR set, they're saying, PSVR2 is like almost close to top of the line, in terms of, games and just quality of the VR headset.
Yeah, shout out to Snoop Wilpock also in the chat. He says, "I heard if your VR2 remote breaks, you would have to buy the whole thing again." So that's an interesting question. I have seen people say that online. It's never been confirmed to me. I believe that everyone's waiting for Sony to launch the controllers as an alternate purchase, and I don't know if that's available. Forte, do you have any information on that as far as having the controllers coming in as a different SKU?
Not that I know of. I know they sell them. They have the controller. Yeah, that's a good question, because the biggest thing is they don't even. Oculus doesn't even sell. Well, at least at GameStop, they sell the headset, but they don't even sell the controller separately.
Right. That's. I mean, that's something that should be kind of brought up.
Even have.
Yeah, I don't think you can buy them separately. I think I don't know. Maybe you can get something from Oculus themselves.
Yeah,
with the warranty, probably.
Yeah, with the warranty, but I haven't came across anywhere where you can like just buy that controllers by themselves.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I've seen a lot of people bring it up online, and it is worrisome because to answer your question, though, Snoop, if that's the situation and your VR controller breaks right now in the first year, it looks like you would have to send the entire headset and controllers back and grab a whole new device.
Mm-hmm.
So
there needs to be a separate buying option though, like, because I won't lie, I use the Quest, and if you're in a small area space,
yeah,
you could accidentally hit your wall.
Absolutely.
Kind of hard sometimes. That happened to me a
Absolutely.
couple times.
Yep.
And then I go to the game room, and it's like a bigger space, but like my actual room, just testing out, I was like, geez, like I would be a little bit worried. Punching walls and
punching walls and stuff.
That's an interesting conundrum. I just realized that for VR, because like, all right, for consoles, obviously day one you get extra controls for sale, but that's because you can have 2-player, 3-player, so they know people might want more than one controller to accommodate other players for split screen or fighters, things like that. But VR is a very individual unit. So how many peripherals do you make to accommodate broken controllers?
Right. That's right.
Because it's not like you're gonna make a profit because, hey, you could get groups of people play VR. You don't. Like when you buy it, if a company makes an extra controller, it's not really for extra sales to accommodate multiplayer or multiple people. It's really as a replacement. So
correct.
I just didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That's normally how I hook people on the warranties when I sell it to them. I always tell them, they say, well, I usually keep my headset and stuff on they keep it in a box or something. I was like, yeah, but what about your controllers? I said, because you can't buy these controllers separately. That was like, they said you can. They look it up on their phone. They say, no, you can't. I was like, yeah, you interact with those consistently, whereas the headset just sits on your head. Like you can baby the headset, but you're always doing something with those controllers. And if those go out, then you're replacing the whole thing. You know, it's not just the headset or the controllers. We give you a whole brand new one.
Also, that's how that's how GameStop handles it. Like if the controller breaks, they just give you an entire whole new unit.
Yeah,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah.
Yes.
They replace
Oh
everything.
wow, that's
That's why it's better to buy from like a
yeah.
retailer like
Thanks for
that.
telling me. 'Cause
No,
I might
it
get
is.
mine from GameStop then, because that's true. They're like, what alternative do you have? Like, do they have a program at least if you mail in the controllers? Sony should
No.
at least do that.
No,
They should at
PlayStation
least
doesn't
do
have that. They don't even have that
Wow.
for their own consoles, dude.
I would get an
on the
extended
PlayStation Direct.
warranty from the.
They don't have
yeah.
something. Then.
Yeah, they don't have extended warranties on PlayStation Direct. I
What
checked.
is the
you
warranty?
can get
though?
them, but you have to like.
What?
It's weird. It's weird
Well,
how
that's
you have
the
to do
best.
it.
Well, that's the biggest thing that I noticed, like at Best Buy, especially Best Buy and GameStop, where theirs is accidental no matter what. So even if long as you can bring it, they just replace it. So like when it came to like the MetaQuest, I had people come in and there was nothing wrong with the headset, but either one of their controllers wouldn't sync to the headset anymore, or it had dead zones in one of the sticks. And they just said, yeah, it's just not working anymore. And I say, okay, well, just bring it in and we'll just switch it out.
Right.
Literally, there's no questions asked. You literally just walk in. As long as you got the unit and the serial numbers matches on it, that's all that matters.
Well, the same thing,
Wow.
like what you mentioned with Best Buy, dude. A friggin' rock can just go through the screen and they'll just be like, all right.
Hey, they'll just replace it. Yeah.
Yep. No, these are all, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat too. They're like, thank God you guys are talking about this. Didn't even think about it. It really is something that I think Component said best just a moment ago. He said something along the lines of, he says, I think surely they'll have controllers available at some point. I thought the same thing, Capone, but Forte makes a point. You still have Quest 2 on his shelf, and he doesn't have Quest 2 controllers sold separately. So and that's been out for a while. Yeah, it's been out for a while. So I don't know if we're going to see that. That may be something that we all have to kind of discuss. Maybe it's something Sony will listen to and get. They don't have to flood the market like Porter Rock was saying, because if they flood the market with them, honest to God, you really don't need that many out there. It's not in the same situation, or it doesn't fall in the same issues that possibly it does with a console and having extra controllers available at launch. But you really need to have some ready just in case. We'll find out. Go ahead, Dirk.
Well, honestly, they could just do how Apple does it, right? Where they just do like a replacement left or replacement right.
Correct.
Like they did with my my AirPod Pros. I lost one and I had to replace it, and I had a replacement for it. But of course, that definitely does cost some
that
money.
Apple
unless you
carry
have...
cheap.
Yeah, well,
no, it's not.
The
Forte.
thing is with Apple Care, like they don't cover that. They don't even cover replacement unless you have Apple Care like plus.
Yeah, plus.
Like unless you have something like that.
You gotta have that $300 Apple Care.
Right, exactly, and I think that's where they would go with that. Like they would have to, kind of figure out, how to do replacements instead of doing like selling the controllers separate or whatever. They should just do like a replacement. But who knows how Sony will do it? They'll probably just do it, the normal way by giving people, new controllers if they want to get them. But I don't think they need to flood it, like you said, Mooch. They don't really need to.
They don't need to flood the market. No.
Because how often are you going to break a controller like that?
Well, you say that, but Red Hood gave a great example, and I went ahead and I've said this to you guys on the show. I went and made my VR station. I have a room downstairs, has a lot more room. I could definitely move my arms with freedom. No need to hit a TV, or I won't hit a monitor. I won't hit a wall. However, because it is in the basement, I know some of you guys have basements that are 9 feet tall. I don't. So the one thing I was doing when I was playing a lot of Call of the Mountain is climbing, for all of you that have seen clips or playing yourselves. And thank God I was going slow. I was actually reaching for the top of the mountain, no pun intended. And I literally did hit my controller on the ceiling. So I didn't smash it.
Now I will.
But I did hit the controller on the ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say it is a good chance that we might get that from Sony, because if you remember, they did I mean, now they grandfathered in the Move controllers from, you know, the original PlayStation 3, and then they made them work on PlayStation 4. But they did sell, even during the PlayStation 4 cycle, they did sell those controllers separately.
They did,
in,
yeah.
in a 2-pack for $100. So,
Well, yeah,
there
but
is-
that's because they had like a whole warehouse of excess.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
That
That was all. You know, they had nothing else to do.
They were just
probably
trying to
got
get rid of inventory.
That's true.
Well,
All
that's
from the
what-
PS3 gen, bro.
That's true.
They
That's
had
true.
boxes
Yeah,
upon
that was
boxes
just
of
nothing but.
controllers.
They figure, hey, why are we gonna do all this? Just
But you
use
know
it for
what?
PSVR2.
What's funny is though, they have data on how much of those they sold based on like the lifespan of how long the PlayStation VR 1 lasted. Because you know they know people bought it, and then it wasn't nobody playing Move anymore at that point. It was just they were basically selling those things as just PSVR controllers. So they have data saying like, hey, we might need a good 100,000 or 200,000 of these controllers out at a given time, just so we can satisfy demand on people that might, like you said, break one side or something like that. So it is an option. It is a good opportunity for them to do it. But the funny thing is, we are all the type of gamers that are completely up on everything when it comes to stuff like this. And nobody ever thought of the fact that, dang, VR is a singular experience.
Yep.
And they don't sell those controllers separately. And if we didn't think about that until this podcast, how many people out there that are just buying this doesn't know that either?
They're not even thinking about it. Shout out to
Not even thinking about it.
Erodimus is here in the chat. He's awesome. He says, if you could get a replacement controller, can you sync a new controller to the headset? So here's what the way that the setup goes, and please guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you do is you set up you do plug in your headset, and then you plug in each controller. This is only the one time. You only have to do it the one time. You plug in each controller to your PS5. You don't plug it into your headset. You plug it into your PS5. So, Erodimus, my answer for you would be, I think you can buy, if they end up coming out with new controllers, or pardon me, separate controllers to buy in addition to, you should be able to still pair it to your headset. It's the PS5 again that is the hub. So, and shout out to the great Kratos99 for gifting 5 Mooch Maniac family members to great folks out there in the chat. I see all those guys getting those green tags. I appreciate it.
Nice.
So let me say this much. I do want to kind of move on. I promised you guys only 15, 20 minutes or so of VR. I know if the great worry word.
10 minutes. Mooch.
I did. Did I see how I just stretched the truth there, Dark? That's what I do as a Mooch.
You lied like Phil Spencer.
I have one
I-
question before we leave the VR. Right?
No, go ahead,
'Cause I just
B-Rock.
thought about this, right?
Yeah, go.
Would you think the next best thing, and I could imagine that, it would be pretty expensive initially, but would you think the next best thing is for somehow, we'll use the PSVR2 as an example, is to be able to link VR headsets so that way people in the house can share the same game together? So for example, Mooch, you buy a second VR headset, right?
Yes.
And now you and your wife or your kids,
Yep.
you're playing in the same world. And
Yes.
that's how you're able to get that multiplayer co-op experience.
Oh.
That would be.
Is-
How does that sound? Granted, I know it's expensive because now you have to buy 2 headsets.
Yeah.
But if you're able to do it, you
And
actually
you're probably gonna
now-
buy 2
you-
PlayStations too.
No, but they do it with the same PlayStation.
Can you
they
do
found
it with
they,
the-
they,
I don't
yeah,
know.
they found,
I don't know, man.
Because the cable's plugged in by USB-C, right? You just plug it into
Yes,
USB-C port, right?
USB-C.
Yeah, but
So-
it only has like 2 USB-C.
No, that only has one.
Oh no, yeah, it
No,
only has
no.
one.
No, there's more than one. Isn't there's
No,
one in
there's
the
only
There's only
No,
one
there's only
USB-C.
The one in the front is
Really?
the only
Yes.
C.
Yeah, the
Oh,
only one
really?
is in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So-
Then that throws it out.
So there are, shout out to TC. Well, shout out to TCMF. TCMF was on the show last week.
Like, never mind.
Who engineered this stupid shit?
Shout out to TCMF, though. He did give me a link. I can share it with anybody that wants it too. Like, if you want to use like I have the Steel Series 7P headset, and pardon me, that uses I think if you have the PlayStation issued one too, it uses a dongle that uses the USB-C. So I ordered they're literally like $4 or $5. I ordered a USB, what is it? USB 3. It's a USB 3 dock. Is it right, Dark? Am I saying it right? And then it converts it to USB-C.
Yeah.
So, anywho, I'm just trying. There's other ways to go around this, guys. What P-Rock's asking, I bet you that's probably not going to be something that's in the cards, but I think that's smart thinking and probably something that somebody should have thought about when they were going through this.
Well, now that he said it, guess what? PlayStation's gonna do it now. Watch. They're gonna be like,
Right,
"Yep,
right.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna make
credit.
people pay $2,000 for 2 PlayStations and 2 headsets."
Well, I hope P-Rock gets his 10% finder's fee. That's all I ask. So, well, speaking of P-Rock, I'll go to you first here. You've been very vocal over the past few weeks, and I don't even, generally you don't hear me say this. It's tough for me to actually present this question here to you. But recently, Phil Spencer did an interview. I believe it was with Xbox On. And again, they're doing anything in the world they can do to get people to find out that they want you to play their games on any device and anywhere on any planet. But, sometimes they don't really get to the focal point there. Again, Phil comes out and says something, and I'm paraphrasing here. I have the article, but it's so long, I don't want to read it and put you guys to sleep. It's basically got a lot of his quotes in there. But P-Rock, it gets into the whole... Xbox didn't have any intention of taking any games away. They use games like Minecraft as an example, which is a good one for them. They're saying with Call of Duty, they'll do parity across all platforms. But a lot of people still scratch their head and they say, that's fine. And those are great examples. But what about the situation when it comes to like Starfield or it comes to Elder Scrolls games? You might go, well, Mooch, Starfield's a new IP. That has nothing to do with it. Fine. Elder Scrolls games were previously on different consoles. They're quoted as saying the new Elder Scrolls will be an Xbox exclusive. That's the thing a lot of people feel here. This isn't like your local mom and pop where they give they say this is what our policy is and everybody can call them out. Once Microsoft has this IP and they have the ABK deal and all of this goes through, 10 years sounds like a long time today. It's not a long time, especially if you're talking about Call of Duty. What if they only put a Call of Duty out every 3 or 4 years? That's only a few Call of Duties before the 10-year contract is up. So, P-Rock, when you see, I know you watched the Phil Spencer interview, or you've at least seen enough of the clips of it on Twitter. What do you think when you hear that? And then we'll kind of parlay this into what's going on with the EU and what's about to go on with the CMA and the UK and all that good stuff.
All right. So for context, let me preface that when Microsoft first began the talks of acquiring Bethesda,
yes,
I was one of the first in the community, along with some of us, to say, hey, prepare for Bethesda games to be exclusive. And if you remember, a lot of people fought against that. Like, oh, the money, it's all about the money for multiplayer. I'm like, listen, pretend Sony did this. And I literally told people, imagine if Sony bought Bethesda, they're going to find a way to make their games exclusive.
Right.
Because they need big titles to attract the platform.
Agreed.
Right? So I already knew that was happening. And I said, that's perfectly fine. Like, you're just going to have to get a PC or Xbox. It's no different.
Yep.
If Sony acquired Insomniac, whoever,
that's correct.
You got to get a PlayStation. So I'm like, that is rightfully so. So the fundamental idea of a first party buying a franchise or buying the... Hell, Nintendo did it with Bayonetta.
Yes,
Bayonetta launched on Xbox and PS3. But guess what? That franchise now is locked by Nintendo. So by right, a company that buys a developer or a publisher, whoever, by right, it's okay for them to keep exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
The issue here is that people are allowing Phil Spencer to be a liar. Like, bro, you are the CEO of Microsoft. You are not the Dalai Lama. You're not Jesus. Like you don't see Jim Ryan convincing everybody, oh, I don't take games from nobody. No, he keeps his mouth shut because he is.
Right,
that's his job.
Correct.
Phil Spencer, if you're listening, it's okay to go after exclusives. That is your job. You are literally in charge of Xbox. Do not worry about PlayStation gamers. But stop pretending to be the good guy.
Yeah.
You're not the good guy. You are the CEO of Xbox. That is your responsibility. It is okay to say, hey, we made decisions in the interest of the Xbox ecosystems and its fans.
That's right.
If you as the head of Xbox cannot say that, then who can? Who has the interest of Xbox and its ecosystem? Somebody has to.
Somebody's got to say it. Yeah.
It's not Nintendo. They don't give a damn about Xbox. It's not Jim Ryan. Nope. He's not going to give a damn about Xbox. Somebody has to be the head guy. But the problem is everybody's more concerned of ensuring Phil Spencer looks like Jesus. He's not Jesus.
No.
He's a CEO just like any other CEO.
That's right.
So and I think that's really the issue. The issue is he tries to say, I want everybody to play games, but yet he's not allowing everybody to play games.
Right.
Like, stop.
Which
stop
is,
with the
right.
mixed
So
messaging.
which
That's really
is
the only
it?
issue.
Yeah. So which is it?
That's really the only issue. He just needs to say, hey, we're making the best decisions to grow the Xbox ecosystem and the players that play on Xbox. Do not say, hey, we want to put our games where you want to play. because now that's a different statement. Because if I say, hey, I want to play on PlayStation, are you including me? Like, obviously not. Just be honest.
Yep.
And it's okay to say you're locking down exclusives. That's really the issue behind all this, is his statement of saying one thing, but he's clearly doing another. Now, the second part is the semantics. Oh, technically Starfield wasn't, announced. I'm like, that's all semantics. We know Bethesda had a lot of these games already in development. Hell, Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, technically Bethesda's first two next-gen only or current-gen only games, they were time exclusive on PlayStation. So clearly they had PlayStation as part of their planning.
That's correct.
But Microsoft acquired Bethesda, and rightfully so, Phil Spencer made the best decision because he works for Xbox. He doesn't work for Sony. The PlayStation fan base is not his concern.
Right.
So guess what? Starfield, shut that shit down. That shit ain't going to PlayStation because that's not my problem.
Right.
I'm not responsible for them. That's okay. He didn't even have to mention in an interview, oh, I never took any Bethesda game away from PlayStation. Why would you even say that?
Why say it?
Like, no one's asking you. Just don't worry,
The problem
it's
too,
ridiculous.
the problem too, though, P-Rock, is that you have a situation where the problem here is that you have Pete Hines said they were working on a PlayStation 5 version of Starfield.
Well, I was gonna say, Mooch, like I think Colin even said, for our Last Stand Media that PlayStation was in talks of trying to get Starfield's timed exclusive.
Right.
So like there was
Right, that's true.
a version planned, and of course after the acquisition, they scrapped that.
Right. So when when Phil says, "Oh, there was, that was never the intent," again, it kind of goes back to what P-Rock was saying. Why even open your mouth? Why even say this stuff? I mean, it's recorded. It's been said before that this was intended to go to PlayStation, and now it's not. So when he says we're not trying to take it off of your platform, again, I agree with P-Rock. He's supposed to. That's his job.
Yeah.
But
Here's the thing, Mooch.
Yeah.
Somebody works for Sony, they don't know how to play the long game, right? Because if I was there for Microsoft, I'm pretty sure the Activision thing didn't come up last minute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It didn't come up last minute, right? They probably planned it all out, probably got the opportunity to do it, right? If this whole thing would have been out there, and I would have been on Microsoft staff, I would have been like, hey, we bought Bethesda, we're trying to get Activision. There could be a chance that regulators in the industry is going to have concerns that we're going to keep Call of Duty exclusive. And that's one IP that's bigger than anything we got, right?
Yeah.
So we got to lose a battle to win the war. If
Correct.
the war is to get AB, Activision, Blizzard King, and Call of Duty, then we got to lose some battles. We got to sacrifice. We got to provide a sacrificial lamb, a little feint move, to confuse people so we can get the bigger goal. Phil would be like, what the hell are you talking about, Puerto Rico? It's simple. We buy Bethesda.
Yeah.
But put Starfield on PlayStation. And he'd be like, why would I do that? That way nobody will touch you about not putting games on PlayStation. If Starfield would have been on PlayStation, nobody would be discussing about, everybody will assume, oh yeah, Microsoft's going to put everything on everything. It's a little faint. Nobody, we wouldn't be having this discussion. And think about it right now. If Redfall and Starfield, if Phil would have actually came out, oh yeah, Starfield, Redfall, they already have PlayStation versions. They're going on PlayStation. Sure, a lot of people be pissed off. Some fanboys will be pissed off.
Yes.
But guess who wouldn't be pissed off? The regulators. They'll be like, wait a minute, you bought Bethesda and the games are still coming to PlayStation. I mean, sure, go get ABK.
It'd be showing good faith, absolutely.
Yeah. And then once we buy it, sucker, Elder Scrolls is not coming, Fallout's not coming, Deathloop 2's not coming, fuck you all. Won the war. See, I gave a little, but we won the war. Yeah. So we'll weather the storm a little bit, but once that deal signs through, fuck y'all all. Yeah. Nothing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what they should have done.
Yeah, a lot of people.
They had to play the good guy in real life. Play that guy. Shake the man's hands, but as soon as they turn around, stab him in the back.
Right.
That's what Microsoft should have done. Sure, they would have gotten a lot of flack, like, oh, why would you buy Bethesda and still put the games on PlayStation? Hey, there's a long game in this. Because the goal is ABK. Well, that's the goal.
So the thing, though, P-Rock, and I'll go to Eric on this one. P-Rock brings up a good point. Capone even says, but it doesn't make sense to make COD exclusive. That's true, Capone. But the problem is that I think enough paperwork is out there. It's not like I read through it with a magnifying glass like a lot of people do on Twitter. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, Call of Duty makes PlayStation a lot of money. So even if they get parity within the game and it never leaves PlayStation, the amount of money and deal that they have currently with Activision, that same revenue stream will cease to exist. It'll be a revenue stream, not the
Just
same
a
revenue stream, right? Red Hood, I mean, Red or E, if you guys want to chime in.
hmm No, I mean, I think you're 100% on the money with that, and P-Rock's on the money too. And I just want to like piggyback on what he said. And this is where people and Xbox dudes tend to get pissed off when you say this, because like P-Rock is correct. Like they have this thing with Phil where it's like Phil is that dude that comes with the sweet demeanor, so you're supposed to protect him like he's your sweet uncle. And I'm like, no, the dude at the end of the day has self-preservation. He's going to do the best. He's going to do the best thing he can do to continue making the money that he makes
That's
with
right.
his company, right?
That's right.
But if tomorrow, literally, they had a Freaky Friday where Jim went to Microsoft and Phil went to PlayStation, they would change everything that they talk about and do whatever the mandate is.
That's right.
Right?
100%.
But Phil has this thing, and this is where, you know, I will go with this 100% all the time. They need to stop listening to their base so much, because their base gives them like this urban legend, like this up on Zeus, up on Mount Olympus thing of where it's like you're the good guys, you don't do anything wrong to anybody.
Right.
So Phil feels like he has to maintain this aura about, I got to look out for everybody.
Yep.
You know, take care of everybody. And that's why he's always seemed to be talking out of both sides of his mouth. And for whatever reason, Xbox dudes feel like nobody else speaks Phil Spencer except for them.
Mhm.
Clint Eastwood.
You don't understand what he's saying. I'm like, I've been in plenty of boardrooms where I know exactly how CEOs are supposed to talk and what they do, and they talk out of both sides of the mouth. And he's no different. He may say it nicer, and that's why they have this thing where Jim's the bad guy and Phil's the good guy. I'm like, no, they're both CEOs who have a company to and board and shareholders to appease, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But Phil has to do this thing where he has to like appease the base, but then also appease everything else and make it all sound good. And that's why he sometimes sounds crazy.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't need to talk at all.
Exactly.
Don't say anything.
I wanted to
People
mention.
are like, well, they're out here talking to us all the time. They're out here like, that's why we love them, because they say the same. They talk to you too much sometimes.
I think that's exactly it, Ian. You've been vocal about this for quite some time.
I mean, if you look at like Nintendo and Sony, like it's funny, like the leadership for those companies, they don't talk, they deliver.
Yeah, they really don't. They don't say
well,
anything.
they had a time. If you got Mooch, I'm sorry, Brad, I didn't cut you off, but if you guys remember, they had a time where they had a presence on Twitter, and all of a sudden that shit dried up.
Yep.
Something happened where they were like, we're not doing this back and forth, and people took that as they're not being as consumer friendly. But you look at their track records and their resumes and everything they were putting out the product, where Microsoft is just talking and they're absorbing memes and making fridges and doing all this other stuff. And look what you got. We're biting on microchips and we're doing all the, we're down with you guys, right? It's like, it's like the parent that wants to be cool with their kid.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft, unfortunately, I think from a marketing standpoint, is doubling down on this, like, this what I call is like a very extremist narrative. And I don't know why they're doing it, because at the end of the day, like, you're going to be judged by your results. Like I don't know what you do for a living, but I think it's kind of technology related, maybe.
Yeah, you have to have a deliverable, and you have a schedule you have to meet. Period.
Yeah, so Mooch, if you're not meeting your deliverables, what happens? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you pay through the nose. Let me put it that way.
I mean, is the retired cop coming to like cap for you, Mooch? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably not happening. So I mean,
no, you have to understand the one thing that I also think is interesting, and it's funny. He was talking about it. BRAP was just touching on it. Was that when you have these interviews and the ABK deal? Again, a lot of this is hey, look over here. Hey, look over here. What we haven't realized is here we are again. We're going past 2022. I was told 2023 is going to be. There's still nothing out to play, and I know that it's we're getting Redfall in May. But I have a feeling that if they do push Starfield to June, we're going to see what happened with Forza Horizon 5 and Halo again come May, June. Even if Redfall gets a good start, it'll be completely squashed by Starfield. They'll crush their own success by launching the next game. I hope they actually move Starfield to the fall to give Redfall its due flowers. But yeah, no, Red Hood, you were going to chime in on this as well. You had a couple of good points.
Yeah, no. There was 2 points. Like, when it comes down to it, like we've noticed, PlayStation very much doesn't want to communicate with like the fans on Twitter, which I don't think they should. And the big reason for that is it could definitely be used against you. And like I noticed Phil, like, and I guess Aaron tries to be like friends with their fan base, which I don't really think you should do that. But it's a little bit
you
weird.
mean like the cultist fan base?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
like,
no,
I mean,
it's
Red, I'm
just
sorry,
weird.
Nick, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's kind of they reward like followers for
Oh
like
no, I noticed that
and it's like it's
give
really
follows out
bad.
there.
It's really bad. Like I'm just like I'm like it's almost like
They
Fox
do it on
News-ish.
purpose though, BRAP, because
No,
like
yeah, you're right. You're
like
right. Yeah, they do.
the executives and Aaron and all
Yeah,
them,
they do.
like they notice like they're those people that they follow, it amplifies them to continue doing what they're doing on Twitter because they're basically a free like marketing like agent that they don't have to pay to do. Right?
Yeah.
They can
But-
market
but-
Xbox for, like,
Grassroots.
Well, what's crazy? What's great? It's a what they're choosing is a very small like portion of like the consumer base. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
and that's the kind of thing. It's like that kind of like makes me like think like, okay, Microsoft. Like, I get what you guys are doing, but you guys need like to. Well, in my opinion, I think they need to like get away from that, and maybe like I don't know, like yeah, I
Brad,
don't
it's
know.
like what we talked about in the DMN private time, like where
Yeah.
their culture is based around like their base, and that's why it never seems like there's celebration on the whole for everything that they're
Thank you,
doing
yeah,
and what
yeah, yeah.
they're launching. It's in response to what the base will say.
Exactly.
They're
Thank you,
very
yeah.
beholden to the base. It's very odd, like and again, my dog in the fight is I understand the relationship between Microsoft, myself, PlayStation, myself. I'm a consumer. You're trying to separate me from my money. If you give me what I'm looking for, you'll get the dough. Other than that, I'm not going to IHOP with Phil. I don't know what kind of dude Jim Ryan is on the week. I have no idea.
Right.
Don't care.
Well,
That's not my
some
job. That's
some
not
people are
where
going to IHOP with Phil though.
Yeah,
that's
that-
the
problem.
The way they
that's the
talk.
thing,
The way
right?
they talk.
That's the thing, right? People act like Phil is their friend, right?
Think
Phil
your
is
mom's
Phil.
IHOP.
Oh man, that's a good one,
I mean,
Brad.
I'm just saying I do. Your mom can eat a stack like no one's business.
Oh, there it is.
Oh jeez. And she does some eggs over your hammy. Oh, that's Denny's. Never mind.
Your mom's a grand slam, huh?
Grand slam.
I'm sorry, Mooch. I'm sorry.
That's all right. We'll keep it PG-13.
Mom joke.
I
Every
know,
time I come
I
to
know
the
why.
podcast,
That was a little
That's
cringe.
just me. That's
Every
just me and
time.
Brad. That's just me and Brad.
Yeah, trust me. Yeah, Puerto Rock. I'm
but-
sorry. I'm numb to it by now. P Rock's like, what the hell is going on here? Every time I'm here.
Puerto Rock,
I
I'm sorry, man.
want to bring it back to where Mooch
It's
was
just-
No,
originally
go ahead,
taking
E.
it.
Yeah.
It's like that.
They numbed you out, Mooch. Like, oh,
They did. I'm
what I
just
was-
completely numb at this point.
Yeah, I was going somewhere
but-
where
No.
Eric actually had a good.
Well,
point
Eric's
for it,
Eric's
so.
following up with it. Eric, go
Yeah.
ahead, please.
Well, I was gonna.
No,
say
I was just
something,
gonna say, going back to. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dark.
Red, I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody's cutting me off, man. God damn it! No, I'm
Damn
just
it.
kidding.
Well, welcome to
Oh,
Crossfire,
Your
Dark.
mom lives that life, so I get it.
Well, you know.
There we go.
What can you do? She lives.
Yeah, that's
she
what she
lives her
said.
best life, but
You're
that's
my
the thing.
son, I
Like
get it.
everybody always tries to make Phil be like their friend, right? Like he's my friend, Like you even hear some of these podcasts talk about Phil Spencer, like he's like the like P-Rock said, Jesus, and it's like no, dude, he's not.
He's not Jesus, no.
He words things in a way that makes it sound like like it's nice, like it makes it sound and he's friendly and stuff. But from a business standpoint, I guarantee you
I don't know
he's a
if
shark.
You're describing your
He's
mom.
going in there.
Sounds
He's a
like your
shark.
mom.
He's going in there and he's gonna just take over the whole entire room. When
It's
it
like your
comes
mom's
to
taking over the entire room. I get it.
Oh,
All right,
geez.
Brap, let's keep it PG-13, will you? All right,
Brap,
Eric.
relax,
Say,
relax,
like,
yeah.
your mom reminds you of Phil
Brap.
Spencer. I'm sorry.
Brap, may I
Hey,
recommend a Gatorade and water, please?
I got one thing to say though. Like I wanted to bring it back because I forgot
go
to
ahead.
get this last point off. And Puerto Rock mentioned when it came to the whole Bethesda deal and Xbox not wanting to put it on multiple platforms and have a faint word that they should have done that.
Yeah.
I felt like PlayStation kind of did that with the whole Bethesda thing. Granted, they're owned by Sony themselves, but their games are supposed to be multi-platform.
Or
going
Bungie.
forward. Yeah, with Bungie. So
Mhm.
that's the thing that
Well, that's the game with server, dude.
PlayStation did
Mm.
that, or sorry, Sony themselves did that, which kind of gives them room or wiggle room to do a feint like you're saying, which maybe that like Starfield should have been that feint, and
Yeah.
it would have been
And
used.
they did that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
minute
mean, I
they
think
announced
they're
the Bungie
smart
thing, they
to
were like
take.
immediately they said it.
I think they're smart to put Starfield only on Xbox. You know, that's a smart move for them because, you know, then
Yeah.
that means people will go gravitate towards the Xbox to play the game. But I just
Well,
don't
I mean,
think it's going to generate enough revenue for people to be like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy an Xbox now.
Well, that
And
that
I
wasn't
just
like the
don't think
point
It
of
that's
what I
is
was trying
smart.
to make.
well, that's the problem.
Exclusives,
The
big
bots
exclusives.
still play games. That's the problem. with
Listen,
the bots.
big exclusives is smart. You're absolutely right. But if they knew they were gonna go after ABK, they should have anticipated. Like, wait a minute, let's war game this out. Let's see the scenario.
Right.
Do you think the industry's gonna be cool with us owning COD, and they possibly bring up that we could make COD exclusive? How would this industry react with that? So then,
Yeah, that's
you know,
a
the
whole
government's gonna
different
say,
story.
"Oh yeah,
How
we're
long
gonna
was
promise."
the-
You know what I'm saying? Then they're gonna be like, "Oh, so we'll just promise Call of Duty will forever be on PlayStation." Yeah, but we just proved that's not true because we're about to keep some exclusives from ourselves.
That's right.
So that's the whole point of the feint, is to not
Yeah.
show your hand up front. Sure, there's gonna be some complaints, there's gonna be some questions, everybody's gonna be pissed off or whatever. Fanboys gonna be pissed off. But if the goal is ABK, they should have planned way ahead and be like, "Hey, what moves can we make to ensure we could get this deal?" And if that means putting Starfield, Redfall, so that way no one has any clue or even an inkling of idea that we're gonna take Call of Duty away, then that's what we got to do. And then once we got ABK,
That's a really good
now
point, P Rock.
we can exact the plan
Yeah.
we want to do.
Yeah, I don't.
Now we can say Call of Duty's exclusive because it's done. It's over. That's it.
Yeah.
I want to
everybody.
play devil's advocate though, Porterop, because the thing is though, I don't know that the time spread from the Bethesda into the announcement for the Activision Blizzard, because they did it at that time where a lot of the allegations and what was happening within there, and then their stocks going down, and then that was the perfect time to buy them. Like, I don't think maybe they were planning on it, but
I think
don't
the conversation was being had, but it got accelerated because of
Yeah.
the price drop in their
Okay, so-
stock.
All right.
Yeah, because
I
68,
think the conversation
68
was
billion is
always
a lot.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
because they said that they were in conversations with Microsoft before about it, but the fact that price
Is
that
dropped like
Forte?
it did.
Yeah.
it's Forte.
No.
That's a
Forte.
great
I-
gaming
I-
forte.
I-
Yeah.
I think-
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm confused.
I kind of agree because I doubt, you know, Phil one day read Bobby Kotick's grabbing females' asses without permission.
Right.
Now's the time to buy him.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
give me $68 billion. Yeah,
Yeah, somebody quick. Yeah.
On that
I
day.
think
Yeah,
that
P Rock,
money
give me
was
68
already-
billion real quick. I gotta go. Yeah. Yeah,
I think that
absolutely.
money was already sitting there allocated for something like that to happen. They just were waiting for the right moment, and it just happened to be too good to be true at that point. And they said, "Okay, let's." Because remember when it literally happened overnight, like that stock
No,
dropped like crazy. The next thing you know,
so-
it was a purchase coming.
You know,
Right.
Forte, you know what's interesting? It's like no one has like talked about, or well, actually, some people have talked about this, like the impact to the gaming industry in terms of like consolidation. Like consolidation is not necessarily a good thing for consumers. And when you raise that question to this deal, like people are like, "Oh, you're just angry at you're a pony and you don't want Microsoft to grow." I'm like, no, it's not about that. It's about that consolidation can lead to people losing their jobs.
Yep.
To price increase, because at the end of the day, like if you look at the economic realities of consolidation, right?
Yeah.
At least like anytime like you like consolidate the people that have the power in terms of like supply chain and everything like that, and putting out products, like that means less choices for consumers, which ultimately the days means like higher prices. And I don't understand why people are like okay and pom-pomming this. And that's the biggest concern that I have. Like,
Well,
I
I-
don't care about like the deal going through per se, but I do question people like trying to like take victory laps and it's like, yeah, we won.
Can I tell you,
okay,
Brap? Can I tell you what I question? Because I like what you
Yeah,
poised there. I'll tell you what bothers me the most is this. I'm concerned about the games. As you guys can see every week, I show you my footage. I love Call of Duty, so I actually care about it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that care about the Blizzard games as well, right? So this isn't just about me. It's about all of us. I mean, like World of Warcraft. You might like Diablo. You might like any of these things.
Diablo,
I've said this a few times. I'll say it again. Microsoft has made purchases in the past, not to this caliber, and the games have suffered. Halo, Gears have suffered. Okay. Hellblade 2, I just want to read a quote here. This is, shout out to Broken Games. I actually copied this. This was fantastic. Shout out to Broken Games. He tweeted this out. Hellblade came out in 2017 with Splatoon 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Neo, Xenoblade 2, and Breath of the Wild. All these games released sequels already, except for Breath of the Wild, which is coming out in a few months. Why is this taking so much longer than the rest of the games? Shout out to Broken Games again. That's a really good, my point being is Hellblade, small game. This is still not going to be a massive game, right? Hellblade 2 is not going to be a 45-hour experience or 100 hours to complete the whole thing, 1,000 out of 1,000 achievements. Where are these games? The initiative is an absolute mess. It's an absolute mess. No, but I mean, Brett, my point is, you're right about your consolidation is right.
That as much as
but you should be, because that's what we're playing, are the games.
But, I mean, I understand, Mooch, but to me, it's like, and I see Grubs like, BRAP or not. I think that's Erodimus. So I'm not going to take what he says seriously, but I see like Grub talk about it, but consolidation leads to less choices. I mean, like at the end of the day, the people that control the supply chain, like, and we're seeing this right now. We see this with entertainment media. Like, I don't understand like why people aren't talking about this. Like, that's a valid concern. I'm not saying it's going to be at the same level like as like healthcare or
but it could be a domino effect for other publishers or even PlayStation to buy, publishers as well, and then it becomes an oligopoly, and you only can go to
and that's my point.
Certain amount of publishers now,
and that's my point. So so when I say to people like, hey, you know what, part of the concern with the regulatory agencies is Microsoft leveraging their adjacencies in cloud, where they don't have to pay for that. That's an absorbed cost. A lot of developers don't have that opportunity to absorb those costs, or to be like in a loss leader position. And so those are concerns that I think are legitimate. And I think that as a consumer, we should ask,
So
and
I think I got an answer for you.
Yeah.
So the reason why probably you don't see people asking, because I think we already got used to it. When you think about it, right? Take, for example, we use phones. When you think about it, there's really in America.
I was about to say that.
In America, there's only really three primary mobile. There's T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T.
Right.
You can't even say Sprint anymore because T-Mobile bought Sprint, right?
Right. That's correct.
Sure, there's little tiny outliers.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Hey, hold up.
Has your cell phone bill got like cheaper?
No, it's the same shit.
That's my point.
The Sprint, but no, I understand your point. I'm saying is people already got accustomed to it. So that's why I think no one's is afraid, because it happened in almost any other industry. Like, again, phones is down to T-Mobile, Sprint, and AT&T. When you go in, unless you want to go for Cricket or Boost, right? It does it, right?
Verizon. You forgot Verizon.
Yeah, Metro is owned by T-Mobile.
It's really Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T. Is there any other big wig out there? There's no other big wig, right? Right now, if you go to internet, it's really Spectrum, Cox, right? Comcast. And then Comcast.
And the thing is, Porter,
you might have some regional. You might have some regional brands like Xfinity is very popular, like in the Southwest. But for the most part, if you travel across the United States,
Xfinity's Comcast.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, fuck. Yeah. So they suckered me in that one. So you still Comcast. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, goddamn it. So not even that. That's what I'm saying. So some people are used to. We're seeing consolidation, but no one's really noticing. We're being complacent.
And how's the customer making out? That's the thing. It's not great generally.
No, generally not, because like perfect example. I went from Sprint, forced into T-Mobile. The price is the same, and my service still sucks.
Yeah, and I keep saying to everybody, I keep trying to say to everybody, but BRAP made a good point with the phones and
that is my point. Like about mass consolidation, it's like, guys,
not just that though, BRAP. You've got a situation where I said this a long time ago, and they're like, "Oh, Mooch, you don't know what you're talking about." Listen, I got news for you. The minute that this deal goes through, if it goes through, and you go a couple of years down the road, $9.99, $14.99 for Game Pass, it's going to go to $14.99 and $19.99. And then a couple of years after that, it'll go to $19.99 and $24.99. And listen, that's the same thing. Great example with the phones. This is what consolidation brings. People
mean,
I
Mooch,
want this
we
deal to
have
go through because
examples
it's
in
better for my
healthcare,
wallet.
oil and
Not in the
gas.
long run, possibly. Possibly.
Mooch, I mean, like this is we have examples of this. Like I don't the same people that are like pooping on $7 games.
Mhm.
Like, what is going to happen with Game Pass? It's going to increase in
Yeah.
price. Microsoft is not going to be like, hey, you know what? Hey, $1 deal? No, they're going to pass the cost to you. They want to lock you.
They're still
into the
recruiting people.
ecosystem.
That's why the
And
cheap
I-
price is there. They're farming
and I-
people. They're still farming.
Yeah,
See,
and I don't blame that. Like, Microsoft's very smart to do that. And it's like, come on, guys. Like, it's
Well, Jeff Grubb goes, prices go up. That's scary. Jeff, talk to the other half of the fan base out there that were frightened at the $10 games that went up. You know, I mean, yes, apparently it does freak people out. I'm not saying this panel's freaked out. I'm not saying that this chat is freaked out. But there's a large population of people that were freaked out that we went from $60 to $70 after 20 years at $60.
They're still freaked out, dude.
They're still freaked out.
That's the
Mooch, go
thing.
back
They're
to-
still freaked out.
Right. But if you go back, you can't really have this conversation with too many people like on the timeline, because for whatever reason, when it comes to any of these things, people can only see what they feel is the positive of it.
That's true.
They don't,
Yeah.
where, I just kind of sit back and I ask the question. I actually asked this question on the timeline, and I kind of got like, the whataboutism. Well, what's Sony does this? I'm like, okay, but in the consolidation game, if Microsoft is holding all these cards, because, and again, people like to say, well, Sony money has, and Sony does this, and Sony, they brought these studios in and everything. I'm like, you're talking about two major publishers. When you get into the publisher game, that's a whole different level of just acquiring a studio. Nobody was thinking this when they were saving studios that were on the brink of extinction, and bringing them in-house, which Microsoft right now doesn't even talk about. If you look at them from the outside just looking in, their whole focus seems to be ABK. Like, they're not even talking about or really mentioning the studios that they've already acquired. And they're talking about competition, hey, let us compete. And I'm like, if you're going competition to competition with Sony making games, you have plenty in your stable right now to actually do that if you're going to produce games. But that's not what we're talking about, right? But if you're consolidating all this stuff, and you're doing all these things, and people have this notion, again, we'll go back to the Phil thing, well, Phil will never do that. Phil's not going to be there forever, right? So what happens when the next regime is like, well, okay, well, we're taking on all the cost of developing these things. We have all this stuff in-house, and we start increasing the prices. What's to say they won't do that? And when I said that, it was met with whataboutism. Well, Sony would do the same thing. Okay, fine, whatever. They would, because they're all companies. They're going to do that. But I don't know why you guys have this notion that Microsoft acts differently than any other mega corporation.
It's how they talk.
No, I'd rather have it
It's
go to
just how they
Microsoft
talk,
and go
dude.
to
That's
right. I'd rather have it go to Microsoft and go to Tencent or go to Embracer. And I'm like,
right.
Mega corporations don't give a shit. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, that's
like,
funny
they're
when
going
people
to
say
do
that.
what
Yeah.
corporations do.
Yeah.
So
And you have no guarantees.
No.
Can I
None.
chime in real quick?
Go ahead. Brap. I was
No,
agreeing with
I was going to
Eric.
respond to Jeff Grubb, who said, but what consolidation calls $70 games? Well, Grubb, we're not saying that, a consolidation calls $70 games.
Right. That's
We're
two
saying
different
is that-
conversations.
What we're saying is that the people that complained about $70 games and an increase in price of video games are the ones that are championing mass consolidation, which will ultimately lead to price increase. Because anytime you have a consolidation of the people that supply, goods to the masses, right? It's a very consolidation group. Like, you're going to see a price increase. So that's what we're talking about, Grubb. And like, it's a fair conversation to have around video games. Like we see this with other,
but
like,
it is. No, but
like,
Brap, the thing
yeah.
about it, though, is Jeff goes, it's not two different conversations. The fact that we went from $60 to $70, games, they cost more to make.
Yes.
Okay, the voice actors, for crying out loud. You know what a voice actor costed 15 years ago? Probably like a bag of Doritos and a thing of, you know what I mean? A thing of Pepsi for the year. These guys, do you think Troy Baker's cheap? Nolan North? These guys
Not
have
at
cost
all.
a bloody
No, he's not.
fortune. So everything is going up from voice acting to production to equipment.
Yeah.
Look at how realistic things look now. The mocap studios, Jeff. That's why those went to $70. What we're talking about is a separate price increase of something with consolidation, how it could affect something like a subscription service. It is two different conversations. Do they both meld? Maybe, possibly. Probably a little deeper than we're going to get into this evening.
Yeah.
But it is two different you can't put the $70 games with consolidation. That was because the market has changed. Inflation, things have gone up. Everything's gone up.
Yes, the cost of services. But Mooch, but I mean but my thing is, it goes back to like we've seen other industries like where consolidation has raised the cost of goods, right? And we see this with oil and gas, healthcare, mobile, entertainment. And so I don't think we're there yet, like with this like extreme like mass consolidation in gaming. But I do think that at the end of the day, if this deal goes through, you got to believe that EA is going to be around shopping to be purchased, right? Because capitalism, they want to make money, they want to make their stockholders money, and if you can make money through an acquisition, you're going to do it. And so gamers have to be careful about what you wish for. Because at the end of the day, you will ultimately pay the price.
Yeah, we will pay. We will always pay. It always gets pushed to the customer, guys. It always gets pushed to the customer. When something goes to your local food place, or your local restaurant, or even local pizza shop, doesn't matter. If the cost of flour goes up, your pizza place doesn't eat the cost. They don't. Your pizza price goes up.
Let me say something to the chat and to the whoever's watching this, and the panel. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I speak too much out of whatever. But when everybody's talking about consolidation, it's not just specific Microsoft.
It's not just Microsoft.
That's maybe where some people are resisting.
Yes,
because it sounds like we're just talking about Microsoft. No. We're not saying that. What we're saying is this is the first match that will ignite everybody else to say game on. Like for example. It starts with Microsoft and ABK, then Tencent's like, game on, hey, we're buying EA. Then Embracer Group's like, hey, we're gonna go after Take-Two and Capcom.
And Ubisoft.
Nintendo's like, ha, we're going after Sega. And by the time you know it, everybody's picking apart all these independent publishers. And then 10 years from now, you realize if you buy a game, it's gonna be either directly linked to Microsoft, Embracer Group, Tencent, Nintendo, PlayStation, Kadokawa.
Exactly. That's the whole one I was saying.
And that's
like it's a domino.
Yeah. So people gotta understand that. Yeah. So exactly. It could be just pretty much Hogwarts Legacy. You only got 4 houses. Sure, you bought a game.
Right.
You bought a game from Capcom, right? But technically, Kadokawa owns them. Oh shit, you bought the new Sonic. Oh wait, but Nintendo owns them.
Okay.
Hey, you bought Medal of Honor. Wait, Tencent owns them.
Can I just want to like Grub's like exactly prices go up. Grub, I get that. I'm a tactical student manager. Like I understand the cost of labor and everything like that. That's actually like a problem that we're having right now in my company, like the inflation cost for labor. But at the end of the day, Grub, like when you consolidate the people that have the supply chain, the people that can put out products. When that's consolidated, that's a little bit different. Like, then games are like, yeah, more expensive because it costs more money to make games. That means that, like, as consumers, we don't have choices. You have less choice as a consumer. Anytime you remove the amount of choice that you have from the supply chain, it automatically increases. It means that the increase to consumers is like, I'm going to say tenfold, but it's like fivefold probably. Like it's not a thing that I think that people should be championing, and I don't think that anyone who raises that concern should be looked at in a bad manner. Like it's a legitimate thing. Like we've seen this with healthcare, we've seen this with like mobile, we've seen this with other industries, and I don't understand like why people are like, oh yeah, you know what, like it should go through and it's great for consumers. Well, is it?
Is it though? We don't know.
If you know what, you ask BRAP, you throw that question out to people and you ask them to explain to you why this deal is good for gamers. It always leads back to, well, it's going to be in Game Pass. It'll do this for me. And it'll give me more of a value.
Yeah.
And how is it good for gamers across the board? As Microsoft keeps talking about, it's good for Microsoft.
Exactly.
Right.
And
if you want to sign up and be on board with that, then it'll be good for you. Yeah, you'll get the value and get the deal, but no one can give you the direct answer of how it benefits all gamers.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is like, it's when you consolidate like that, and Microsoft can do things, and like they don't have to absorb the costs that other smaller developing studios have to with the cloud and everything, because they do that. I mean, those are things that will get passed on consumers, and so it's a concern. Like I just don't understand like why people like, oh, this is great, it's amazing, it's gonna be great for everyone.
What about
it?
what about this though? What about they
Mm.
acquired Bethesda and just and I know that the numbers may not be so big that it makes news, but there was a lot of layoffs and Xbox Bethesda were affected. And now you're going to take in 13,000 if not more people from ABK, and you're not going to hear it.
We're going to get laid off too.
Yeah, you're not going to hear it in a week or two, but in 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, you're going to see a lot of those people are going to get laid off.
I'm sorry. Can I just jump in here real quick? Hey, Grub. I don't know. We're like Grub says it's better for gamers because Activision will make more and different games. Grub, like,
you have no guarantee of that. Grub.
Wait.
Put him up in here. Just put him up in here.
Can I just Grub? Where? What rubric are you using to arrive that? Like, how do you know that? You don't know that, and that's a problem that I have with this deal. Like Grub and other people say it's better for gamers because Activision will make more and different games out of Microsoft. You don't know that, Grub. You don't know that.
No, he's saying that because
wait.
it's better for him.
Wait,
That's
no,
what I'm saying,
wait. Can I say this too? It's like what Microsoft's been doing is like letting also Bethesda operate independently. So if the same management is still within Activision Blizzard, the same games will still continue being made unless Microsoft will restructure the whole company, which will also cost time and money to do so.
Well, listen, Grub's going to come on. So, Brad,
I just want to throw something out there. Like Grub,
but that's
better for gamers. But Grub, I mean, this is the same argument with when Microsoft acquired Rare. I mean, like, if it makes sense for them if it's going to make money, they'll do it. But I'm not going to go out there.
Microsoft has shown no ability to manage their way out of a paper bag.
That's what's
huge conglomerate like
Activision. Like right now, the benefit of this is people who are in the Xbox ecosystem, whether it's Xbox or the console or PC, they're on Game Pass. This is actually great. If you're on Game Pass and you get Call of Duty every year, that's fucking amazing. But to say, oh, Microsoft can do things better, they can't even do it for their own stuff.
Okay, right. Go ahead, Jeff's here. Let Jeff go ahead.
I get that, but look at Activision. Just look at Activision right now. They are not making very many games, right? They are all in on Call of Duty, and they are afraid that they have no pathway forward to make more to make more money. They're freaking out. That's why they're making this deal. Like, that's the reality, because they look at their future.
That's not their reality, though, Grub.
And Brad, just hang on. They're looking at their future.
That's not their reality.
They're looking at their future, and they see that they have a pathway of growth that only involves making more and different kinds of Call of Duty games.
That's how they're doing. That's how they're doing.
Hold on, Brad. Let him finish.
Jeff,
I want to hear.
Hey, Jeff. Hey, nice to meet you.
Come on, Jeff. Come on. Let's be real. Like,
hold on.
Just like Dan Snyder.
Let's pretend. Let's pretend that. Let's say that's the scenario. Jeff, hey, nice to meet you. Let's say that's true.
Yes.
Let's say
Good
that's
Jeff.
true.
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
It's all gone.
Hey, oh shit. No, I'm just kidding. Let's say that's the truth. Let's say Activision is concerned about future IPs, new IPs, development process, all that stuff. Who says Microsoft can fix that when they having that same problem too?
Fair. So I think it's a
completely
fair thing.
Cannot help another crackhead get off drugs.
I think it's completely fair, but I think if you look at the way it's worked out for Bethesda so far,
but I'm saying I can understand maybe if Nintendo bought them. Hey, we can fix it.
But let's just look. We don't have a ton of evidence. You're right, and I think we look at Bethesda. It's a lot of that stuff started kind of halfway between, but Microsoft has at least done the work to cater to ensure that something like Hi-Fi Rush can at least come out in a pretty good state, and they were willing to delay a lot of the bigger games that started over at Bethesda before to get them up and off the ground. They are providing the funding and the framework to at least give up some games, even if it's like a Ghostwire Tokyo that doesn't work out quite as well. They're trying to make these new and different kinds of games work. Activision and EA, it's not just Activision, all these big publishers are afraid of taking a lot of chances. EA's getting a little bit better. Activision is not. Activision had Crash Bandicoot 4, did really well, people liked it, no more Crash Bandicoot. They had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2, did really well, sold really well, best-selling Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game. Are we going to get another one of those? No, we're freaking out. That team, the Crash Bandicoot 4 team, guess what they're working on? Call of Duty. Everyone's working on Call of Duty because that's the only thing they think can make sense for them in terms of the growth they need. And even then, with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 doing very well. It sold very well.
Yep.
Even then, they're disappointed with Call of Duty. They're worried because even that is not enough growth for them. So they're freaked out, and there's no way they're going to start taking chances on interesting and fun games. I think they should make a lot of Call of Duty. Obviously, a lot of people really like that stuff. They should be making a lot of Call of Duty, but not to the detriment of not making anything else. And that's where they're at. That's why I'm mostly like, okay, I look at it like this. I think we might get more varied games if they go under Microsoft. Maybe not. I don't know. But it's probably going to be better than the status quo. I don't know. But then we look at the workers. We know that everyone hates working for Bobby Kotick. They might have a better chance under Phil Spencer. Maybe they won't, but maybe. So I'm like, the status quo actually sucks super bad. It's really bad, the status quo. Why not let something different happen?
They have Lulu out there, who's like out there, like putting out, like Lulu's out there, like Donald Trump at this point, and Microsoft's okay with that. And there's no look. I understand the hopes and dreams of Activision. It's not going to happen because companies want to make money. Microsoft's not spending $70 billion, Jeff, to make Tony Hawk Skateboard 5. They're not going to.
That's totally their plan because they want variety on Game Pass.
That's what
the structure is completely different.
They don't. They want
the idea here. Remember, BRAP,
Call of Duty, and they want Candy Crush.
Remember, they did say with Matt Booty. Matt Booty said that be prepared for a lot more of those kind of AA type of games that we want to fill Game Pass. Now, the thing I'm asking is more.
Mooch,
That's fine.
But one of their games.
But I'm not seeing it yet.
What he wants to do with Activision?
I'm not seeing it yet. Is my problem. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, me personally, I can't really take anything Matt Booty says completely serious.
Yeah, if you're not, if it's not a compelling argument to you, I'm not here to convince you.
No,
I don't think you should believe in people you don't believe in. That's fine, and I totally get that. And I'm just explaining my position. Perhaps why are these people excited about it? I'm not really excited about it, but the idea of maybe things changing a little bit because the status quo is so rotten over at Activision. It does make me a little bit hopeful for the thousands of people that work there and maybe a couple of the game franchises that are under that umbrella that I would like to see come back. It's not much. It's not much. And at the end of the day, if this deal falls through, oh well, then some games that weren't getting made aren't going to get made. Oh well. And the people that work there will probably just leave like they were going to anyhow. Oh well. But it's for the most part, it's it's just a really mild deal for the most part, other than that big number. That big number is a big scary number, $69 billion. I get that too. But other than that, it's okay, it goes through, great. If it doesn't, whatever.
What about the
part?
Are you not concerned with mass consolidation in the gaming industry?
It's already consolidated, BRAP. What are you like? That's the problem with Activision.
But it's not. It is consolidated, but not.
I'm not. BRAP, that's a good question. I'm not worried about it for a couple reasons. Video games are way more dynamic than any of these other industries you've brought up.
That's not true.
It absolutely is. Where's the next big $1 billion game going to come from?
That's a great question.
I can tell you where it's going to come from. I know where it's going to come from. It's going to come from the same place it's come from the last 5 times. Early access on Steam. It's going to come from Steam. Where these games out of nowhere, these big ideas that these little developers have, they're going to make $1 billion. And then everyone else is going to look at those ideas and add them to their games because the video game industry is so much more dynamic than these other markets. It's not like music. It's not like television. It's not like movies.
I don't agree with that.
Yes, and because the small developers really can make an impact here in video games. I'm just not worried about it.
But Greg, if you look at how many games are actually successful on Steam, what 5% of video games are successful?
It's a bloodbath. But
exactly. That's my point. But
right, what's the difference? What are you talking? Who cares? It's a bloodbath before. It's a bloodbath after this deal. What's the difference? Why is that a reason for the deal not to go through?
I'm not arguing. I'm not saying that the deal shouldn't go through. What I'm saying is
I'm talking about the dynamism of the market. I'm not talking about how easy it is for someone to succeed. It's hard to succeed in any business. Of course it is. That's not going to change with this deal.
We understand that. But what I'm saying is that mass consolidation in industries isn't necessarily a good thing for consumers.
Oh, no, nothing's necessarily a good thing for consumers. Absolutely. But
that's my point.
But the status quo is not necessarily a good thing for consumers. That's the thing that always gets left out. You guys say it's hard to understand why people are thinking about this deal. Most of it is just fanboy bullshit. Of course it is. But it's okay, then what is the real substance here? It's that the status quo is rotten. And if something's coming in to shake it up, who knows? It's a roll of the dice, but it might be better than the status quo. That's all it is for me.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I hear that, Jeff. And actually, you made a couple of good points. And again, it's a question. Maybe it's rhetorical. I don't know if anyone on the panel can even answer it. I'm not asking Jeff.
Well, I got a question for Grubber.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on. Wait. One second. I just want to say that Jeff's main concern, or one of his main concerns, was Activision's kind of going down the toilet. People might leave. You know, he said things like that could happen if the deal doesn't go through. The thing is, we're seeing things like the initiative where it's a catastrophe. We're seeing what happened with 343. It's a catastrophe. We're seeing that the coalition can't even get a Gears out that sells or keeps or retains their multiplayer like they have in the past. That's a catastrophe. So I don't necessarily get the warm and fuzzy inside that we have a situation where if Microsoft all of a sudden takes on 13,000 new employees and 85 new IPs they never had, that we're going to get any of those things besides a Call of Duty. And now Microsoft's been very vocal to say, we'll move Call of Duty to every 3 years because they don't need the revenue like Activision does. So now, instead of getting the Call of Duties we get, we're even going to get the game that is beloved from Activision every 3 years instead of annually. So it's just, what I'm saying to you is that I actually agree with Jeff saying, and I'm not saying if it's right or wrong for the deal to go through, but at the same time, I don't know if Microsoft's necessarily the team to handle it. I just don't know if they're actually in that capacity to deal with this right now. They've got their own fires in the kitchen. And that's the only thing that, you know, I know, and again, I'm just throwing.
I think it's totally fair to have that position.
It's just a concern, just a
I'll say
concern.
one thing. The idea that there's even a potential that Microsoft might say, hey, we need to slow down on Call of Duty. We need to get back on the quality. Hey, we're only going to release Call of Duty every 2 to 3 years. That's not happening. There is no way someone could tell
I don't know. I have no idea if that's going to happen.
That was mentioned, but yeah.
I'm going to tell you, imagine going to a boardroom and tell them, hey, I got a great idea. A game that's a top seller every single year. Yeah, let's stop doing that. What do you guys think? They're going to look at you like, we think you're fired. That's what's going to
You might get tossed.
I wanted to ask this question, though, because like I mentioned this before. I was like, because of like these diverse games, Grub, that you think may happen or may not happen, right? Sure. Because like if we look at Bethesda, they operate. You know, of course, they're under the Xbox umbrella, but they operate in
Microsoft Gaming.
Yeah, right. And the same thing could be said about, you know, Activision Blizzard and Activision in their board or whatever. They would get a new CEO and all that, but like, or they have to restructure the company as a whole, which will take time and money to do so. Like, which one do you think they'll end up doing?
I think that they will most likely end up in a very similar thing to what Bethesda is, a separate brand under Microsoft Gaming. There's a couple reasons to do that. One, that's Microsoft Gaming will be so unwieldy at that point. There's no point in giving more responsibilities to Matt Booty, who people have rightfully on this panel pointed out has seemed to struggle managing the studios he does have. And then, you know, the other side of that is I think maintaining a strong brand presence and name is, even if it's a legacy thing, where it almost certainly will be with Blizzard, having those names show up in Game Pass, where it's like you get Game Pass and you don't just get Xbox games, you get Bethesda games, and you get Activision games, and you get Blizzard games. It's all Microsoft Gaming, but it's just like going to Disney Plus and seeing, well, you get National Geographic and Star Wars and Marvel. It's all Disney.
It's a good sales pitch.
Like different brands.
It's a good sales pitch. It's like me not knowing Xfinity was on the Comcast. I didn't know that shit.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Remember where Disney Plus removed content from Netflix?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did remove it.
But it's a good point. I could be like, I hate Comcast. I'm going Xfinity.
Well, wait,
like,
you know,
it happens all the time. Yeah.
You know, guys, honestly, I don't get to ask Jeff Grubb. I don't get to ask Jeff Grubb a PlayStation question. But shout out to Easy E. He says, "BRAP, well, first his best show ever, BRAP." He says, "Mooch, get Jeff Grubb to spill the beans on the PlayStation showcase." I mean, Jeff, is there anything you can say?
Reading that, and I'm like laying on my beanbag, like with my little bit of earache I was telling you about.
I know, I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm glad you're here.
Man, I should just get up and go answer this man's question. I don't really know about the content, and that's why I don't talk about it, because I don't know.
That's fair.
But I'll say that, you know, I have a guess is like anybody else. I think we probably do hear about factions. We might hear about a Spider-Man 2 release date, big surprise, like things like that. I'll just say that what I've heard is this is the stuff I can confirm.
Metal Gear.
Yeah. I think
that's
there was another game that was supposed to pop up, and I cannot be able to remember it. Whatever. I just heard, you know, the state of play was going to be low key, and it was, and it happened when I heard it was going to happen.
Yep.
And then I heard that they are planning a showcase that is a carryover from the showcase they wanted to have in the fall, but they didn't because a lot of studios weren't ready, and then that's going to happen before E3 timeframe. And those things could change. The first one didn't. I don't expect the second one to change either. I do expect that showcase to still happen before E3.
So do you see that the showcase, because I noticed like it's like the second phase, right, of what
that was my phrasing. I know a lot of people like really focused in on that.
Oh yeah, they definitely
I think
did.
it's a fair phrasing.
Yeah, because like I would assume it would be maybe as big as like the initial like first PlayStation showcase rather than the second one, which wasn't I feel as good as like the first two, the one in 2021.
I think the fact that they waited and they've had a lot of stuff pent up and they're kind of really ready to go with this one, I think it bodes well, but I don't want to like build up people's expectations and then come back to me and be like, Jeff, you got my hopes up for this, because I don't want to like ruin that for Sony or anything.
Yeah,
like that.
don't ever do that, Jeff.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Don't ever do
And
that,
then
bro.
the release time, though, I wanted to know though, like it's before E3, but you know, it could be what, May or first week of June, that like that time frame could be where they do that showcase, right?
Well, I would think June.
I think that's right. Yeah,
I
that
think
sounds
June
good.
holds water. The other thing, Jeff, is that you hear it.
Hey,
Have you
Mooch,
heard anything about time on it? Is it a 60-minute show, a 90-minute show, a 45-minute show, anything like that?
I mean, I think like how long were the other showcases? They were more than an hour, right?
They were
Like,
right
I think
around
that-
an hour or just short
Yeah,
sometimes.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be right in that zone.
Okay.
For an hour to 75 minutes. But again, I haven't heard the specific details about that.
Hey,
All right,
Mooch,
that's fair.
I got a question
Sure.
for Grub. Grub, real quick. Does Kenny Omega go to WWE?
Oh my god.
Probably, actually, yes. I think at this point, maybe. Yeah.
Jeff
I
is
think
so-
AEW's reeling.
Jeff's so well versed in
like
multiple categories and
his
multiple
contract's
podcasts.
up, like end of the year, I think, right?
Yeah, he should get paid before it's all over, man. He should have one good run in WWE where he really gets paid.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think you should go.
I was going to say, Jeff, who's going to win the World Series this year? Everyone likes to ask you all these prediction questions.
Hey, I'll bet on the Mets.
Thank you, buddy. Let's go, Mets.
Why?
Let's go,
Why?
Mets. God
The
bless you,
Yankees.
Jeff. No, I don't.
Hey,
You know what to do here. Man. Come on.
the right state, wrong team.
Oh, come on with those
Well, halfway
goddamn
there, brother.
Yankees.
I hate to say it, Mooch, but I don't think the Mets are ever going to win.
Probably
anytime soon.
not. It's not looking good. No, not at all. I mean, well, you know, while we got Jeff here, real quick question. So Jeff, we were talking. A lot of news came up again this week with the Xbox Series S, and the panel can chime in as well. It's not just let's ask Jeff for the next hour. I mean, when you see what's going on with the S, and now the S has been drastically reduced. I understand it was with an incentive deal through Verizon, so not everybody gets to take advantage of this, but Verizon is the primary phone holder. I believe they still have top billing in the country as far as the U.S. is concerned. $149.99. People are even speculating that the S for Christmas this year by Microsoft for all could be at $99.
Really?
Well, this is speculation. None of this.
It's
It's all
amazing.
rumor. It's all rumor. My point is,
I'd buy it.
Jeff, what are you hearing internally? Anything about the Xbox Series S? You know, I never thought that was necessarily a good idea. I understand what it's meant for. I know what it's there for. Entry level into next generation. Game Pass. A lot of games work and will play and feel very good on that. But here we are. We are now entering 2023. These are going to be the games for Microsoft and PlayStation where we're really going to start utilizing that next gen hardware, current gen, pardon me. Is the S going to be able to satisfy the consumer even at the low price point, or is Microsoft really just trying to get rid of it at this point?
I mean, I don't think they're necessarily trying to get rid of it. I also don't think they are trying to center it in any of their marketing pushes. Or I think they know that the Xbox Series X is the future, and that's what they should be focused on. I don't think that's too surprising for where we're at in the generation already at this point. The S has its purpose, and it is things like partnerships where it's like instead of Verizon giving away a tablet when you sign up with them or a set-top box like a Roku. The Xbox Series S could fill that niche really well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that anything that's going to get any of us excited? No, I mean, no. I like my Xbox Series S where it's at. It's a nice little media box, but I don't ever think about the thing, and I think that's fine. That's why I got a 3080 Ti on my computer, and I got my Xbox Series X. And Microsoft fully knows that it's still mostly in a battle for people who want the best hardware under their TV, and that's going to be the battle for the next couple of, beyond the next couple of years. That's why they're still so hardcore about Xbox, even though out of the other side of their mouth they're saying we want everyone playing everywhere they're at. Well, they know the best way to get people to the Xbox Game Pass ecosystem and beyond is through their hardware, and they're just and the right system there is the X. That's not a surprise.
Do you see the S getting down to $99 possibly this upcoming holiday, or no?
I mean, if it does that, I think that really does move things. I mean, that is the cost of one of those high end Rokus. So
yeah,
I actually don't see that. I mean, I can't remember the last time we had any console priced at $99. But if they do that, I mean, I remember there was like an Xbox 360e, right? At that time, and everyone's like, how much is that going to cost? They're just going to put that out for $99? And then it was like super expensive or whatever. And it was like, oh, okay, no, they're just not doing $99 consoles anymore. And really, the reason that they haven't done that in the past, like they did that with the PlayStation 2. Remember when that was like the end of its life, 10 years?
Mini.
Yeah, and that got to $99.
Yeah,
But
it
then
was like the size of a wallet.
Right. What changed though? What changed is everyone got iPhones, and so the people that might have been like, "Oh, I was waiting until the PlayStation 2 is $99," they just play free phones on their game. That audience is like no longer out there, and maybe the Xbox Series S is feeling that a little bit. But I think the Xbox Series S is in a position where some of those people who do play games on their iPhones are also occasionally thinking about, "Well, I play Fortnite on my phone. Maybe once a night, one night a month, I'm thinking about playing games on my Xbox Series S on a TV. Maybe it'd be nice to have." Again, that's how much does that move the needle for Microsoft? I have no idea. Is it a gateway drug? I have no idea. And I think that for now that their focus will be the Xbox Series X.
That's what I was hoping you would say. I'm hoping we kind of take a little bit, because I mean, with the pandemic and situations with the chip shortage and things like that, Microsoft was a little bit more leaning towards heavily on their S, and I'm hoping now we start to see that
that's
transition.
What they had, right? That's what they could produce. So I mean, it wasn't too surprising.
No, not at all. I said,
Mooch,
yes, go ahead, Dark.
I'm gonna dip out, man.
All right, buddy. I appreciate it. I know you have another 8 hours of podcasting coming up, so I apologize. Yes. Dark, thanks for being here, buddy. I appreciate it. If you want to stay, Grub, we're just going to do a speed round. Dark, thank you. I'll do a plug also for your stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out here pretty soon. So yeah, if you want to hit me with anything
I'm just doing some quick roundtable round. And guys, by the way, on the panel, please do chime in. Like I said, I hate every time, whenever Jeff's not here from the beginning, Jeff, and I love that you jump in. I just feel like we just kind of zing a million questions.
Cram it in. I know. I'm sorry.
And no, it's okay. Like I said, I appreciate you being here. I was thinking the Square Enix deal. I really want to talk to the panel about this. The Square Enix thing that's going on with the president stepping down. Again, speculation here. A lot of people are talking about, does this mean that the new individual that's going in as the president, does this add or subtract the talk that we may, depending on what happens by the middle of the summer here with the ABK deal? Do we find out that Sony wants to acquire Square Enix? Is that something that maybe with the president stepping down and a new president coming in, he's more in favor of that type of acquisition? Or no, this is just, again, a lot of banter going across the internet that doesn't have any weight?
I mean, I think that if you pair this up with what happened with Luminous, I think it maybe makes us a slightly compelling argument that this is a company that wants to make sure it's streamlined for an acquisition, but they were doing that. That's why they sold off the Western studios too. And then the reality of the world changed in terms of the economy and money becoming a lot more difficult to borrow. And so that kind of ruined that deal at that time. It seemed like maybe now they're looking around like maybe we have some interest, but they're like, say, hey, in order to make this happen, you guys got to slim down even more and become even more streamlined. So Luminous happens. I don't know why the CEO leaving would change things. It does seem like the CEO got in trouble with its board of directors for saying he would go after NFTs. I forgot what they're called because they're so stupid. And then he didn't go after them hard enough, according to the board. And that's just wild to me that the board of directors still thinks that's a viable thing. That's just real stupid. Yeah. But that apparently that's one of the factors here. So it's a number of things. Obviously, also this is a company that has had the one hit Final Fantasy 14, and then they have the occasional Final Fantasy success, and then everything else around that is either it comes and goes, or it is a disaster. I mean, the Quiet Man, Bell and Wonderworld, these are smaller things still, but they're still disasters.
But then you got like Octopath Traveler and
Babylon's Fall. Yeah, Babylon's Fall is just like a real embarrassment and stuff. They seem like they don't know how to do anything except for Final Fantasy 14. And at a certain point, Final Fantasy 14 feels like Yoshi P's success and not the CEO success. So like, well, maybe we have to change things up. And the guy was there for a long time. That CEO, I think he was probably going to leave anyhow. But maybe this expedited things a little bit, and now it's like, okay, let's get some change in here, so we see if we can like change the culture and maybe make a better Square Enix, while we also potentially wait for some acquisition. I do think they probably are trying to still look for a buyer.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about though is like he's the same person that, granted, was with the NFTs, but he was the same person that got Yoshi P involved with Final Fantasy 14 after the 1.0 launch, and approved his plan for Realm Reborn by, like patching everything out, creating this new storyline to kind of like segue into this new game, which was a Realm Reborn. So I get a little worried when like that man is very successful. Like he's up there with like Nomura within like Square Enix as a whole. You can even say like Hideo Kojima and all that. And that's what I get a bit worried about. But like I don't know whether or not they'll get sold or not. It's a possibility.
Yeah, who knows?
I hope not. That's just me. I don't like consolidation. But I just don't mess with the creative talent is what I'm saying, because like Yoshi P has like a huge amount of talent within his team in Creative Business Unit 3, and Square, granted, has its ups and downs, but they get some really good talent to like Suzuki from Capcom with DMC5 and all that, and bringing them into the fold with Square Enix and Final Fantasy 16. So it's like they make good decisions. They also make bad decisions too.
Right. Yeah. I think they just they have a hard time nailing down why their good decisions work and replicating them. But yeah, I think that Yoshi P is canonized at Square, and he can do whatever he wants as long as he wants to do it, and as long as they give him the space. Now, if they interfere with that, maybe that'll be a problem. But I got to get going, Mooch. Thanks for having me on, man.
No, Grub, thanks for stopping by. You got an open invitation anytime, buddy. I appreciate your time and your input into the in the industry. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, Grub. So let me ask you this then. I'll go to Eric Jackson. Eric, the other thing about this situation is the Luminous Productions merges back with Square Enix. And all of a sudden, everybody goes, well, there you go. That's a clear-cut indication that Luminous is just horrible. They can't handle themselves, and it's bad for Luminous themselves. They're going to go back under Square Enix, and they're going to lose a bit of that creative freedom. Eric, I don't really see it that way. I see them kind of going back, maybe getting some of the support they need, maybe some of the help, maybe the financials. I'm not sure. What do you think when you saw Luminous? And Luminous is, of course, the folks that made the recent Forspoken. And also, I believe they're responsible for Final Fantasy 15.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know, like, overall, like, Final Fantasy 15 was considered a success for, like, the most part, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if
it sold pretty well.
It took a long time for them.
Originally, I know that people weren't happy about it. But
and we all know, how, like, Square Enix rolls, like, as far as what they consider successful, like by the numbers that they set. So honestly, I don't really know what that necessarily means for Luminous, because it's not really, as of yet, like detailed. Are they becoming like more of a support studio for the other things that they're working on, or are they going to become a different team that's going to work on something within Square Enix? I don't think either side has an answer for that. I think we're all, of course, speculating on what that means, right? Because in my head, I'm kind of thinking, if you see a value in Luminous, why not support them, or why not supply them with, maybe a director, producer group that is successful within Square Enix, and put them over there to see what they can do with Luminous.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they kind of made it sound is as if they're being folded into Square Enix for whatever role. And, as gamers, that's typically what we kind of, default to, and what we think when a team is brought into something.
Yeah.
It's not like they said, Luminous is going to be, a part of Square Enix and take over or work on this project. We have a new idea that they're going to work on. They just said that they're being brought in.
That's where I'm at, and I'm currently playing through them about halfway through, maybe a little bit more now. I'm actually doing every little side quest, which is driving me crazy. It's a me problem. It's OCD. I don't know what my issue is. But I
had that too. I gotta attack the whole map.
I'm playing Forspoken, and Forspoken's map is massive. The game is massive. By the way, just want to say this because I know there's a lot of hate for Forspoken, so I'm not gonna sit here and defend it or tell you should like it. It's not my game of the year. I can tell you that. But I am enjoying my playthrough. And I don't know if Luminous is as bad as a lot of people say they are. And Red Hood, the only reason I kind of go to you is you're kind of like, in my world, you're my Final Fantasy expert to a certain extent here, buddy. I got to ask you, like, what's your take on that developing group? Whether it be Forspoken or it be Final Fantasy 15, like both for most of the gaming community that we talk to, it's kind of a sore spot for that company. And I know that a lot of people use those two games as rhetoric right now. Where are you on this company going back and merging with, Square?
Yeah, so I'm not in a very like favorable, like I don't very care much for Luminous Productions. Very much like they split the fan base. Like 13 also split the fan base, and a lot of people don't know the story. And like 15 was technically versus 13. That was Nomura's game, Nomura's story, and they kind of booted him off the project. And Luminous took over, created a way different story with just his characters that didn't even act like his characters. Like you could just watch like the whole trailers and stuff, and him trying to make versus 13 within Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts 4 potentially. And it just wasn't that good of a Final Fantasy game. It's like so many plot holes, and they had to create DLCs to fix the problems with the game. And then they got booted off Final Fantasy to create Forspoken, and Forspoken only charting at number 7 on NPD, being sandwiched between God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring.
Mhm.
I don't think is a great measure of success, because then you got number 5 like Fire Emblem and all that, right?
Right.
So like if you look at February NPD, I doubt it'll be in like the top 15. Maybe it goes into like the top 20. And no, I don't think it's a good sign, because it definitely feels like they're getting folded, and they're probably going to become either support studio or dissolve, and going like the employees going into other sectors of Square to just work on Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy games. And that, because the thing is, Luminous, like people said, oh, that means them going into Square. It's like Square created that company from the ground up. It was a subsidiary company that they created. So
So why did they get? How did they get their independence and then go full circle? How did that come about? I don't mean to get into a full
because
thing.
they created
history,
like the engine and all that. That's also
Yeah, that's their engine,
It was called
right.
Luminous Engine,
Yep.
Luminous Productions, and all that. So they were given money like any other studio. It's just they had a bit more
freedom.
autonomy. Yeah, but
Okay.
now with being folded, that is not looking like the case.
I see.
So it's like I told you, like in the podcast multiple times, I was like, this doesn't do well. They're definitely on the chopping block, and I wasn't even the only one who was saying that. Even Colin and from Last Stand Media, I was like saying it before he was. I was like, dude, this game has to hit. If not,
so
they're gonna be support or just dissolve. And
well, they got the
Square.
support, which don't get me wrong. If you're going to be Luminous, I guess you kind of want to be support rather than let go. So I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily. Maybe it's a way for them to regroup.
Well,
maybe
no,
grab
I
some
don't think they'll be like the employees let go. What I mean by dissolve is like the studio themselves it's just not going to be there. It's just the employees and different
Understood.
like creative business
Okay.
unit 1, creative business unit 3. Like, you know what I mean? Like the same thing happened with Japan Studio, right? It got technically dissolved.
It got
but
dissolved,
the
right.
employees, were placed in like different areas within PlayStation, right?
No, that's a great example. That's a great. I got a couple super chats here. I want to say thanks to you guys for being patient too. I didn't get to all the super chats right away, especially with the whole thing. And it was a great discussion with everybody on the panel as well. TrueWiddy says, if you know traits of lying on Xbox on Phil was itchy all over, frankly. He was lying on that interview, scratching his cheek, touching his neck and arms. So TrueWiddy's getting a little, he's getting his psychology degree out there. He's saying it's kind of like Seinfeld. Depending on how high you itch on your face is how much you're lying or not telling the truth. The great TrueWiddy is reading, he's reading a lot into people. The great TrueWiddy's here. That's great. Glinser says, Microsoft is like James Dolan. Knicks fans, you all know. Glinser, you might not be wrong. James Dolan is not my favorite owner. That is very, very true. TrueWiddy comes back and says, grub your bias. How is owning the industry good? That was before, so shout out to TrueWiddy. He also comes back and says, and how is Microsoft better? Look at Rare. Where is Banjo? Vibes Worldwide says, Jeff, do you think the real reason PlayStation didn't do a showcase yet was because of the ABK deal? We didn't get into that, Vibes. I didn't ask him that question, and I apologize. But Jeff's answer, and I guess I'm paraphrasing. I don't like answering for Jeff, because anytime you answer for Jeff, you end up 10 news sites will roll with it. So I'm not saying that he said this, but he basically said they weren't ready to show it last year. The developers asked for more time. They got that time, and it looks like it'll be shown off sometime before July. I have to ask you guys a question. Is anybody on the panel excited? I'm like the only one, I know. I'm looking forward to Dead Island 2. And I don't know, because I love
Mooch, come on,
because I love
bro.
zombies.
Like,
I love
the signs are on the wall. Like if we're
talk to me. What's wrong, Red?
They had so many different studios
I know.
working on it and taking it away, and then they're working on it, taking it away. It was so much development hell. Like I would just wait for a cheap sale, man. That's what I would do, man. You never know.
Man.
Man.
The game comes out to announce that I was actually interested in that.
Wait, so Forte, can you
first.
tell us from GameStop's perspective? Are you guys doing any? Is there a decent amount of marketing coming up? It's next month. I don't know if it's too early to tell, or you have something. Is there any?
There's a couple of signs around the store. That's it. I got more people that ask me like, "Hey, I can't believe that this game is coming out." It's literally, it's like the last thing that people remember seeing was that trailer of falling from a building and stuff, and then all of a sudden we're getting the game plus the trailer we showed before. I think some people really liked the last trailer they released, but what have we seen of that game to even make you want to be interested in it? I think for me.
You know, and that's fine. I'll answer that question. And Red, I got to get Red's trust back. You know, Red, the reason I like it is it's kind of moronic fun. I love it. You know, I really do. I think it's a lot of fun. I think you can just kind of get lost in it. The one thing that I like better about the Dead Islands prior to even the Dying Light was made very well. I don't have a problem with Dying Light, but Dying Light, especially 2, 1 I thought was very good. I didn't care for Dying Light 2 very much. And it doesn't mean that it was made poorly. It wasn't. It was polished. It was fine. I mean, it was, you know, there's the random, you know, zombie glitches and things like that. But I don't know. The story didn't hold me. The weapons, I didn't care for. I like the crafting better from the original Dead Island. I think if they expand on that, it'd be more fun. It's also just more of like a simplistic zombie game. I don't know. I think the parkour in Dying Light got a little out of hand in Dying Light 2. I thought 1 was just right. The gliding and the climbing and the this and the that, all from a first person and hitting RB. You know, it's a lot. I didn't care for it as much. I'm sure maybe some people in the audience won't agree with me. But I guess, Red, I'm not saying that's my game of the year either. I think it's going to be a fun game to run through with a couple of friends. And I think it could be just some easy I mean, listen, I watched Walking Dead for 11 seasons. You got to understand, I love zombies. What can I do?
Do you still watch it?
It's over.
Oh
no, you know he's gonna come back when the new
Forte, that was the greatest question.
Michonne and what was his name?
Rick and Michonne are coming back next year. I will watch that. Yeah. Yes, that's gonna be that's only an 8 episode series though. It's not gonna go on and on and on. But no, Forte, I will when I will. Eric, listen, me and you are supposed to run through Far Cry 6 at some time. We'll probably run through Far Cry 6 as soon as 8 comes out. But
right,
Eric, what do you think about something? And the reason I'm not just asking you guys if you like Dead Island 2. I understand it's a very simple. I think Red kind of nailed it. The thing I'm really looking for from you guys is this game a lost cause because it's been in development hell for so long, or is it something that we've seen? They're showing gameplay. They're putting the game out there. They're all over Twitter. I mean, do you have a little faith in this, or have we jumped the shark?
I think people that love games like this are going to really probably enjoy it. But I've come to listen. We have access to so many games now. I haven't gotten to the point now where if it's a game that, even if it used to be games that I would be 100% interested in, and I would say, okay, I'm gonna try it. I'm at that point now where it's just so much that comes out. I'm just like, I have to pick. I have to be real picky.
Yeah,
because it's just time investment in these games is just ridiculous now. And I've never really been into the whole, zombie stuff like that. So it's something that I was like, okay, in the past, I would have been like, when they first announced the game, I was definitely one of those people that was really excited for it. But now it's just like, it's a lot of games that I just had to cut back on just due to the games that you just kind of vibe with. And it's just like with you play so much Call of Duty. What makes you?
Yeah, no, you're not.
It's like what games?
I was just going to bring that up.
There's games that you used to be really into that you just don't even mess with anymore due to the fact that you got certain games that you always go back to.
Forte, outstanding point. And I know with my Call of Duty is your Destiny. And the thing about it is this. So let's take Destiny and Call of Duty out of the equation, even though it's a large part of our pie. I'm going through Forspoken. Like I said, I'm going to finish that game. I'm not going to platinum it at this point. I am going to platinum Hogwarts. I am going to platinum that. I'm making great progress in that game. But now I've just started Wolong. I'm not going to platinum either, but that's only a 10 to 12 hour game. That's something I can do on the weekends. But you're right. Now we have RE4. Say again?
How long is that short?
I heard it's 10 to 12 hours.
Oh, shit. Oh, wow. I had no idea.
And that's kind of like the perfect length for a lot of games now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Forte, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get the Wolong anytime soon. Like 12 hours.
But I mean, if the Dark Optimus is in here,
it sounds attractive when it's only 10 hours.
Right. That was
time is
that's the other thing with some of these games now, man. When a dev is like, yeah, our game is going to hit about 10 to 15 hours. I'm like, I love it. I love it.
To hear it.
When they say, oh, it's gonna, you'll be in there for like 80 to 100 hours. I'm like,
nope.
Well, shout out.
I love that. I love hearing that, man.
Well, that's the same thing that happened with Dying Light 2. It's like when they came out and said that 500-hour thing, I was like, no freaking way.
You were like, no.
Hours.
Yeah.
But it's still, but
Yeah, I
it's still
think you have
close
some of
to
that, right?
50 or 60 to do the main story missions.
Right.
And I was like, nah, see, that was still way too much.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. You guys make some outstanding points. Those 40, 50 hours. I mean, like I said, I'm going to get through Hogwarts because it's just something that, like, I'm playing through it, but the family's really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun to go through. It's probably one of the most
I
easy
just started
going,
the other day.
right?
But
It's
I like
just
how you just like what you just said though, and that kind of trumps all. You're not just enjoying that as a gamer yourself. You're enjoying that with your family.
100%.
On top of it.
100%.
So that extra 40 hours that you put into it is a little bit more meaningful.
Yep.
Because it's not just you.
It's not me
easy to
alone.
do it
Correct.
again.
That is correct. No, Forte, you've put it beautifully. You're 100% right. That's something I'm going to get done. But let's be honest. So Wulong, yeah, you can get through that. And again, by the way, please, guys, understand, a lot of people, that was a lot of chatter the last 2 days on Twitter. And I didn't see anybody rebuttaling it. So I believe it is a 10 to 12 hour game. Maybe it's 14 for some that are really, really stretching it out. Maybe it's even upwards of 25. I said I'm not platinuming it. I know if you just want to beat the game, it's somewhere between 10 to 12 hours. But then we have RE4 Remake coming out this month. Forte, what else is coming out this month that I'm missing?
It's non-stop, man. It's non-stop.
It don't stop. It doesn't stop.
Man, I'm in for that one.
Me too. But that means I need to, of the games I just said, I just listed 3 to 4. Before RE4 Remake comes out at the end of the month, I need to at least have 2 of those ones I just mentioned done. Not completed platinum, but at least done. You know, and it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. And then like, go ahead, E.
Because Hogwarts, as far as the platinum, that's probably going to be something you have to keep kind of going back to. I think you have to go through the first part of the game like 4 times for the houses or something like that, right?
I was just going to give credit to the great BitCloud Gaming. Shout out to Bit. I talked to Bit. He platinumed it. I think he said, and I'm not quoting him, but I know I'm not off by much. I think he said it was 73 hours to platinum. So I know that is a large number. I get it, but I will say this much: it is if you're just playing through it, not to platinum it, you're still going to put in 40 hours. Just to beat the game.
I'm probably going to platinum because I mean, you know, I'm a fan of the whole Harry Potter world and all that, and it's really. I'm
going to platinum.
As far as that, it's just like detailed out, you know. Yeah,
it's going to be like a pleasure to platinum it. Actually, you know what I mean? Where sometimes you feel like some platinums or 1,000 out of 1,000, it's a bit of a grind. I feel like this will be fun. I don't think anything is tedious or annoying or awful. I think you just got to play the game. Yes. You know, you do after you beat the game. Probably have to go back and do a few things, but I don't think it'll be anything that pisses you off or gets on your nerves. So no, that's all. You know, again, I brought up the Dead Island 2 stuff because you know I'm going to be playing it. That's the end of April. That comes out April 21st. So Dead Island 2 is not in our very, very near. It's about 2 months out, a little short of that. But remember, the thing, and Forte will remind you of this. You've got the 21st is Dead Island 2, and the 28th is the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor game.
And that's going to get played before anything else.
Right, and that's my point. So Dead Island's basically... Dead Island's going to be dead in 7
Jedi
days.
Survivor is going to be so good. Like, if you notice that they are having, like, different stances with different skill trees and stuff, which is more, like, complex than what the original Jedi Fallen Order did. So I'm, like, super hyped when it comes to Jedi Survivor.
Oh, they're doing the
sabers.
The idea
you're having like an actual skill tree for these stances.
Oh, so there's the stance is similar to how the differences were in like Ghost of Tsushima. Okay. And shout out to Josh Aries or Rise. He says, Mooch, don't forget Zelda in May. I don't think anybody's forgot Zelda in May.
That's why I got to get through Star Wars as
I
quick as possible.
I feel real bad.
I gotta get big on these games, man.
I feel real bad for Forte those 2 months. Those are going to be a lot of midnight releases, and it's going to be crazy. I know they don't do a lot of those anymore, but I think Zelda's getting one. Would you agree, Forte? Or
yeah, Zelda be. I mean, even if they say we don't have to do one, I'm doing one just for myself. So everybody that comes to my store is going
Forte's like, I'll be there. I don't know if anybody else will be, but I'll be there.
I've done that before for people like if it's a game that I absolutely want to get and I can't wait to the next day, I will do my own little midnight at my store and just call my all my customers and say, hey, if you're trying to pick this up tonight, I'll be here. Oh
no, I don't blame you.
That's great, Forte. That's beautiful. Hey, but Mooch,
I was just gonna do outros. Actually, if you want, I'll go first with you.
Okay.
Let me just say this much. I want to say thanks to everybody. I'll do outros after E has to leave, so I'll do the folks that had to leave early. I will go ahead and do their outros as well later at the end of the show. But I want to say thanks to everybody here on the super chat side, the chat, the panel. Great, just shout out to the great Jeff Grubb for stopping by the show. That's outstanding. I actually wrote Jeff earlier today, and he said it on the air, so I don't mind saying. He said he wasn't feeling 100%, and he had 2 other shows to do today. Not to mention, I think he's streaming either later tonight or tomorrow. So he made some time to come on the show. I appreciate that. But Eric, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. Honestly, great conversation, good talk. And what do? It's CrossFire. So this was a perfect example of exactly how you have difference of opinion, great conversation. E, as always, the voice of reason. Let people know where they can find you, Eric. And thank you so much for actually hanging out so much with me this week on both of my shows.
No doubt, man. I'm happy to do it, man. And hopefully, again, we can do it more often.
Yes.
The plan at the line,
Please.
But no, thanks for having me, man. It's always great to be here. And yeah, that's the good thing about CrossFire, man. It gets heated debates, but it's always respectful, and that's how it should be.
Absolutely.
These are it's not things to get pissed off and mad about. We'll have good conversations about it. We're all passionate. We're all gamers. We love the hobby.
Yep.
But yeah, man. No, but seriously, man. Thanks for having me again. Thanks, Chad, for letting me hang out. And I'll catch you guys later.
No, appreciate that, E, and I'll let E go. I won't hold them anymore. But Eric and I were having a great discussion on Monday's show, but we were saying the same thing. We all have passion in this industry. We love this industry. We love the games that we love. But really, there's a lot of things going on out there. Health, your family, work, different stresses. This is supposed to be, at the end of the day, something that you do to decompress and enjoy yourself. So, yes, I love a great debate in the gaming industry. And I love talking games, but at the end of the day, don't ever let it go any further than a great debate. I completely agree, Eric. Great point on your point there. Red Hood 420. Red, listen, honestly, just absolutely adore having you on the show, buddy. You got so much insight into gaming. You play a lot of games. You know what you're talking about. And your voice keeps everything cool, calm, and collective. The minute Red takes the microphone, everything takes it down about 2 degrees. The fire cools down in CrossFire. It's very, very nice. It's soothing. So, Red, I appreciate you being here, buddy. Love the opportunity this year that I got to hang out with you. Want to game more with you, to be honest with you. But Red, let people know where they can find you, because what I think that they should know is that you stream and you game a lot. And honestly, those are the people that I personally love to follow the most. So, Red, thanks for being here tonight, and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at redhood240 and Twitch at redhood420. Like I said, I stream weekdays around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do a lot of gaming news in the beginning, and some movie stuff in terms of pop culture, and then gaming. So been playing some Hogwarts Legacy on stream as well. So look forward to that. I go in terms of kind of interact with chat. Any questions asked, I'll answer and all that stuff. So appreciate having me on, Mooch. It was a great
Always,
podcast.
buddy. Always,
the guests were great, and it was great talking to Forte as well, and everybody else.
No, Red, you've been on a few Crossfires, but tonight was it's one of the ones where people always write me tomorrow. I'll get all kinds of great messages. Mooch, now that was a Crossfire. So I mean, Red, you got to enjoy one tonight. That was a lot of fun. Appreciate you being here. The great gaming Forte, also having Forte here. Forte on his vacation. It's literally like if you had one of your best friends being a doctor, and then he's like, I'm on vacation. You're like, so I got this thing bothering me in my shoulder. And he's like, come on, I'm on vacation. What do? We take the great gaming Forte and we put him back to work in the gaming industry. Forte, I love when you're on the show, buddy. You keep your ear to the ground. You know what's going on. You play a lot of games. I'm very sad to say that I didn't pick up the newest Destiny expansion. Probably the first time. I haven't picked one up in a while. But as you said, there's just so many games out there, and Red,
play, man, I get it.
Red was right there. I was talking to Red throughout the entire day Tuesday, and I was gonna pull the trigger and buy that expansion Lightfall, and I just said, you know what, I know I'm not gonna play it enough. So that was the one thing that I said I passed on. Doesn't mean I'll pass on it indefinitely, but until we get to the summer months where I have a little bit more time. Before, let everybody know where they can find you, buddy. Thanks for being here, and I truly appreciate you being here tonight on your vacation.
Yeah, definitely. Great to be here. Always cool chalking it up with you guys. It's always great to have all the people that were here in the chat. Shout out to you guys for all the love and support. But for myself, it's Gaming Forte everywhere, YouTube and Twitter. Check us out on DPS Podcast with the homie Slow Backslap. Had a really good show,
Great show
last night with him. Shout out to B Money. And we had Kofi on there too yesterday. So really good conversation on all the stuff we talked about today. So if you want to hear more of that stuff, go check it out on my channel. And with that, just enjoy the games that you're playing, have fun. And everybody pray that this ABK deal goes through sooner rather than later, because I'm tired of talking about it.
Yes.
But y'all have a good weekend.
Great point there, Forte. Shout out to also little Porter Rock 77. He had to leave. That's at Porter Rock 77_ on Twitter. Go over and follow him there. And I was also trying to just look at real quick and get Dark Optimus. There it is. Dark at Dark Optimus. No real hard or spelling. That is not difficult at all. It's at Dark Optimus right there. I just wanted to make sure I plug these people. Shout out to the great BRAP too, who came in. BRAP had fun. BRAP always makes CrossFire a good time. Shout out to BRAP. That's BRAP_podcast, and he does BRAP podcast on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock. And shout out to the Xbot448 who couldn't make it tonight. He does next podcast on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Guys, we have episode 8 of The Last of Us Reactions Monday at 7 p.m. here on this channel. And then we'll be back next Friday, of course, 7 p.m. Eastern time for CrossFire next week. And I'm sure we are going to have a boatload of hot topics to go over. That being said, guys, as Forte said, I'll reiterate, enjoy yourselves, play a game, get out there. Don't touch grass, touch a controller. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you guys next week right here at 7 p.m. Eastern. Good night.